Chapter 1663. Fonger, old man, you and second uncle miss you very much. Ning Xian's gentle gaze fell on Yun Luo Feng. Do you want to go back with me? All right. Yun Luo Feng nodded slightly. After 5 years, she really should go back and meet the old man and second uncle. Country of wind and cloud. On top of a mausoleum, Yun Qingya sat on a hillside with a pot of wine in front of him. He held a jade-colored flute in his hand and gently blew on it. In front of him, there were 3 tombs. 2 of the tombs had obviously just been moved, but the words on the tombs were especially dazzling. On these 2 tombstones, there were 2 vertical lines of words. Yun Tian's tomb. Bai Ling's tomb. Yun Qingya quietly looked at the 3 tombstones, her clear eyes filled with sorrow. Big brother, big sister-in-law, the old man and I have already left the dragon-howling continent and moved your graves to the side of General Wen's tombstone. Yun Qingya's handsome face carried a faint smile. I believe that in the underworld, you have already heard about Fonger's deeds over the years from the general, and you can be at ease. Not only has Fonger found a good husband, her own strength has also transcended the secular world. If you were still here, you would definitely be gratified by her current achievements. Oh right, big brother. I forgot to tell you that I'm already married. My wife is very beautiful and I love her very much. My daughter is innocent and cute, and she is also my flesh and blood. If you were here, you would definitely be happy for me. In this world, there aren't many people that I admire. Big brother, you and sister-in-law are 2 of them. Your heroic nature and sister-in-law's heroism are not inferior to a man's, both of them are moving. When the day comes, I will also be able to meet you 2 in the underworld. Big brother, sister-in-law, General Wen, let me toast you. Yun Qingya put down the jade flute, picked up the wine cup in her hand, and scattered it on the ground. Suddenly, the cry of an eagle came from ahead. Yun Qingya raised her eyebrows and looked over. In an instant, a group of eagles with the Yi family's emblem appeared in his line of sight. At the same time, the people standing on the eagle's back also reflected in his eyes. Xianer brought Shui'er back. Yun Qingya's lips curled up. He was about to speak when he suddenly saw the white-clothed woman standing beside Ning Xian. Feng. He was startled for a moment, and a hint of joy appeared in his originally sad eyes. Feng's home. 5 years, God knows how much her relatives in the Wuhui continent missed her in the past 5 years. Unfortunately, this girl had been gone for 5 years and there had been no news of her at all. Even the members of the Yun family who had confidence in her strength could not help but worry for her. Second uncle. Yun Luo Feng also saw Yun Qingya standing below. With a leap, he jumped off the eagle's back. Second uncle, why are you here? Yun Qingya smiled. Ever since your parents' graves were moved here, I've basically had to come and talk to them every month, and General Wen. Back then, he risked his life to save Yi Jingchen, so I should come and visit him often. Hearing Yun Qingya's words, Yun Luo Feng slowly turned around and discovered the grave behind him. Father, mother, I'm back. She faintly raised the corner of her lips. I haven't come to visit you for many years. Do you blame me? However, Yun Luo Feng paused for a moment. Bai Xiao said that there are countless wonders in this world. If there really is an underworld in this world, then even if I have to turn the underworld upside down, I will still save you. Chapter 1664. Yun Qingya laughed bitterly. How could a place like the underworld exist? This was just the imagination of the people of the world in order to mourn for their loved ones. However, he did not interrupt Yun Luo Feng. His clear eyes stared at the woman's determined face as the corners of his lips curled up slightly. Big brother and sister-in-law would definitely be extremely gratified to see the current Fonger. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Boom. At this moment, a loud sound suddenly came from the city not far away, causing the entire ground to tremble. What happened? Yun Qingya's expression darkened. She slowly turned her head and looked at the dust in front of her. Her eyes gradually turned cold. Ning Axian descended from the sky and stood beside Yun Qingya. Her expression was also filled with seriousness. The place where the commotion came from seems to be the Yi family. Yi family. Just as these two words fell, Yun Luofeng, who had been standing beside them a moment ago, suddenly disappeared. Her body was like a bolt of lightning as she quickly shot out. Big brother Yun, let's go take a look as well. Even after 5 years of marriage, Ning Axian was still used to calling Yun Qingya big brother Yun. Mother, Shuai wants to go as well. Yun Ruoshui pouted. Her black eyes were limpid and clear. Shuai, Juner, you and the others stay here. Ning Axian paused for a moment before continuing, I'll go see what's going on first. Yi family. A group of experts descended from the sky and blocked the Yi family's doorstep. The leader of the group was a woman. This woman was extremely arrogant, and her eyes were filled with contempt. It was obvious that she did not place the group of people in front of her in her eyes. This mission seems to be very easy. As long as we can take down these people, it will be enough. Before coming to the Yi family, she had already investigated the situation of the Yi family. Even though the Yi family was famous in the Wuhui continent and no one dared to provoke them, it was a pity that they were too weak in front of the Holy Maiden tribe. May I know who you are and why have you come to my Yi family? Old man Yi hurriedly walked in from outside the door. He frowned slightly and looked warily at the people blocking the Yi family's door. Even though the people in front of him were just a group of women, Old Man Yi could feel a terrifying power from them. I heard that Yun Luofeng's family is in your Yi family. The woman sneered. I won't make things difficult for your Yi clan. Just get those people out here. Old Master Ye's face darkened. These people had come for Yun Luofeng's family. Now that Yun Luofeng was not in the no-return continent, he had a reason to protect her family. Lady, you are too arrogant. In the limitless continent, no one dares to capture someone from my Yi clan. Old Man Yi snorted and flung his sleeves. A powerful force was emitted from his body, causing his gray robe to flutter even though there was no wind. The woman stared blankly for a moment before bursting into laughter. Old man, don't you know that there is always someone better than you out there? That's right, your Yi family is indeed very strong in the limitless continent. Unfortunately, in front of our sacred maiden tribe, you are vulnerable. She curled her lips into a contemptuous smile. The maiden tribe. The old man was a little confused. Where did this force come from? Why had he never heard of it? You are not from the limitless continent. Only this answer could dispel the doubts in his heart. At least you have some eyesight. For this matter, you can't blame me. You can only blame Yun Luofeng. He killed a member of our sacred maiden tribe. Our sacred maiden tribe can only find trouble with his family. Chapter 1665. The woman raised her head slightly and said with a face full of arrogance. Grandfather Ye's face suddenly changed and his gaze became even more serious. Old man, you'd better make a choice. Will you protect the Yun family? Or will you share the crime with them? The woman smiled coldly. Suddenly, an aged voice sounded out from behind, and it carried insufferably arrogant arrogance. In-law, since these people are here for the Yun family, then your Yi family shouldn't meddle in this business. I want to see what the sacred maiden tribe can do to me. The woman narrowed her eyes slightly and her dangerous gaze gradually turned to the old man in silk clothes. Who are you? The old man raised his chin and said arrogantly, I will never change my name. I am Yun Luo of the Yun family. I am Yun Luofeng's grandfather. Humph. The woman smiled sarcastically. I didn't expect you to not be afraid of death and dare to come out. Yun Luofeng rolled his eyes at her, his old face full of contempt. Why wouldn't I dare to come out? You losers dare to threaten me. Who are you calling a loser? The woman stared angrily at Yun Luofeng and fiercely gritted her teeth. Yun Luofeng's face was full of disdain. You said that my precious granddaughter killed the sacred maiden tribe's people. Then aren't you my granddaughter's losers? If it wasn't for the fact that you can't do anything to my granddaughter, do you need to come to the Wuhui continent to find trouble? You. The woman's face was livid and she pointed angrily at Yun Luofeng. No wonder you have such an inhumane granddaughter. It turns out that it was all taught by you. Heinous people like you should go to the 18th level of hell. Come, take this old man down. I want to see if he still dares to be so arrogant. Swoosh. In an instant, the sacred maiden tribe leaped up and quickly rushed towards Yun Luofeng. Facing these people's attacks, Yun Luofeng laughed twice. My precious granddaughter did nothing wrong. She only kills those who deserve to be killed. If you dare to lay a finger on me, my granddaughter will definitely overturn your sacred maiden tribe. The woman trembled in anger. It's enough to capture the others as hostages. Kill this old man with a cheap mouth for me. In fact, Yun Luofeng's original intention was to provoke these people. He would rather die than drag Yun Luofeng down. Be careful. Old man Ye's expression changed drastically. His body reacted faster than his brain. Just as those people's attacks were about to reach him, he blocked in front of Yun Luo and forcefully withstood that palm strike. Boom! The old man's body was sent flying and he coughed up a mouthful of blood. A huge force spread out in the courtyard, causing a huge explosion. The entire courtyard was filled with dust, covering the azure sky. In-laws. Yun Luo's old face turned pale in an instant, and he hurriedly walked to old man Ye's side. In-law, what are you doing? Don't you know that I deliberately angered her so that she would kill me? That would be better than capturing me to threaten Feng Er. Old man Yi coughed twice, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. His face was pale and colorless, and his breathing was very weak. Yun Shao isn't my biological grandson, but, in my heart, he's no different from a biological grandson. So, I've always treated him and Feng Er as family. Feng Er, She placed you in the Yi family because she believed that our Yi family could protect you. Chapter 1666. Grandfather Ye's voice was intermittent, and he couldn't form a coherent sentence. If he watched Yun Luo get into trouble, then he would be letting down Yun Luofeng's trust in him. In-law. Even if I have to give up my life, I will not let anyone use you to threaten Feng Er. Yun Luo clenched his fists tightly and looked angrily at the sacred lady tribe. All these years, Feng Er has never taken the initiative to provoke anyone, but there are always people who provoke her. The woman glanced at the half-dead grandfather Yi with a mocking gaze, then turned her gaze to Yun Luo. Who said she didn't provoke us first? If she hadn't kidnapped our successor first, the elites of the sacred lady tribe wouldn't have caused trouble for her. Bullshit. Yun Luo swore angrily. Feng Er would never kidnap anyone. Humph. According to a reliable report, our successor, Lin Ruobai, was kidnapped by Yun Luofeng. Lin Ruobai. Yun Luo's body suddenly froze. Wasn't Xiao Baifeng's disciple? That was what he thought, and he said it out loud, unexpectedly. After hearing the old man's words, the woman laughed arrogantly. The successor of our sacred lady tribe would worship a woman as her master. This is the funniest joke I've ever heard. Is she even worthy? Don't think that I won't kill you just because you lied to me. Anyone who offends the sacred lady tribe must die. Whoosh. A strong wind surged, and the woman's hair danced wildly in the wind. Her aura was as sharp as a sword as it shot towards Yunluo. Under such a strong aura, Yunluo couldn't move. Even so, the old man's lips curled into a mocking smile. Even at this time, he still dared to be so arrogant. The woman was even more furious, and she naturally didn't show any mercy. Just as the long sword condensed from her aura was about to pierce through the old man's chest, an invisible pressure came from the void. In an instant, the long sword's aura disappeared. It seems that the lesson I gave the sacred lady tribe back then was not enough. That voice was filled with evil and awe-inspiring coldness, causing one to shiver even though it was not cold. The woman's expression changed drastically. As she raised her head, a snow-white robe appeared in the air. It was as beautiful as a painting. There were many beauties in the sacred maiden tribe, and many of them were devastatingly beautiful. However, none of them could be more beautiful than this woman in white, Grandpa. The woman in white stepped into the void. In just a few steps, she had already descended from the sky to the ground. She was so fast that she could only leave a shadow in the sky. Feng hurry and see if Lord Yi can still be saved. Yunluo said hurriedly as soon as he saw Yunluo Feng. Yunluofeng's figure flashed, and she was already at Old Man Ye's side. She stretched out her hand, and took out a healing spirit herb from the divine grimoire space. She squeezed out the juice of this spirit herb and fed it to Old Man Yi. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels are all shattered. I will temporarily stop the bleeding for him. If he wants to recover from his injuries, I will need to concoct a medicinal solution. A medicinal solution concocted from ordinary herbs would not be able to cure Old Man Ye's injuries. Only the spirit herbs in the divine grimoire space could alleviate his injuries. Fortunately, this time, the gold-seeking rat did not use up all the spirit herbs. It left her a lot so that she had the spirit herbs to concoct the medicinal solution. Next, it's time to settle the score. Yunluo Feng slowly turned her head, her evil eyes staring coldly at the people of the sacred maiden tribe. Yunluo Feng. The woman's expression changed. How could this guy appear here? Yunluo Feng slowly raised her hand. With a swoosh, a powerful force broke through her palm and hit the woman's chest. Chapter 1667. Ah! The woman screamed and fell to the ground with a thud. Who allowed you to come to the Wuhui continent? Yunluo Feng raised his head slightly and looked down at the woman who had fallen to the ground. What are you still standing there for? The woman gritted her teeth. Capture this bastard. The members of the Holy Maiden tribe wanted to step forward, but when they felt the murderous aura from Yunluofeng's body, they instinctively took a few steps back. Azure wings. Yunluo Feng called out coldly. Bang! The moment his voice fell, a tall figure landed heavily on the ground. He was like a god as he stood in front of Yunluo Feng to protect him. This man was very tall and well-built. Even though his body was covered in scars, it could not hide his evil aura. Other than this woman, kill everyone else. Don't leave a single one alive. These words slowly spilled out from her lips. They were filled with a murderous aura as they lingered in the courtyard. What do you want? The woman's entire body trembled. She never thought that Yunluo Feng would return to the Wuhui continent. Moreover, it was so fast. What do I want? Yunluo Feng laughed coldly. Do you want to know what hell is? I don't. Before she could finish her sentence, she saw a wave of flames surge out from beneath her. The flames instantly enveloped her body. It was as if she was in hell and it was extremely painful. Following the recovery of fire's power, her flames became even more ferocious. Under her control, they could make people feel even more pain. Those who touch my family, don't leave a single one alive. She, Yun Luofeng, was never a good person. It was fine if the world said that she was ruthless and cruel, but she only wanted to protect her family. For this, she was willing to pay any price and would not hesitate. Yun Luofeng slowly turned around and looked at the old man behind him. His beautiful face lit up with a faint smile. "Grandfather, I'm back." After 5 years, she was finally back. Yun Luofeng's heart was filled with excitement and tears almost streamed down his face. However, he suppressed the emotions in his heart and kept a straight face as he spoke impatiently. "You've been gone for 5 years and you still know how to come back." Unsurprisingly, this was the longest period of time that Yun Luofeng had been away from the family. No one knew how he had managed to get through this period of time. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows. "Actually, I brought you a gift this time. If you don't want it, then forget it." "Gift?" Upon hearing this, the old man's eyes immediately lit up. He cleared his throat and pretended to be serious as he said, "You have a conscience. You even know to bring me a gift. Where's your gift? Quickly take it out and show your filial piety to your grandfather." Yun Luofeng's smile widened. She stretched out her hand and a dark green fruit appeared in it. "This is a fruit of life. You can extend your lifespan by 10 years after consuming it." Extending his lifespan by 10 years. This is good stuff. The old man's eyes shone with an intense light, and his breathing quickened as he said, "Hurry up and give this fruit of life to me. How can one of these be enough? Give me at least 10, no. 100. Looking at the old man's disrespectful appearance, Yun Luofeng helplessly spread out his hands. "I only have this one right now, and right now, you should let me treat Patriarchia's injuries first." Yun Luofeng carefully put the fruit of life away. He planned to slowly enjoy it after returning to his room. "Seeing that you're going to treat your in-laws' injuries, I'll let you off for now. Next time you have something good, remember to show your filial piety to your grandfather first." Chapter 1668. Facing the shameless old man, what else could Yun Luofeng say? "Alright, if there's anything good in the future, I'll be the first to bring it back for you." In any case, she had worked so hard for these family members. If her family was gone, what was the point? "Oh right, by the way, after I help Patriarchy heal his injuries, I'm going to leave." Yun Luo's fingers that were gently stroking the tree of life stiffened. After a long while, when he suppressed the emotions that were surging out of his heart, he used a calm gaze to stare at Yun Luofeng. "This time, how long do you plan on leaving?" "I'm not sure." Yun Luofeng rubbed his nose. "However, I will still return to this place in the end." Parting was a very sad thing. However, Yun Luo would never express the reluctance in his heart, afraid that it would affect Yun Luofeng. His granddaughter had her own path to walk. As her family, he couldn't possibly drag her down. Yun Qingya glanced at her father, then slowly turned her clear eyes to Yun Luofeng. The corners of her lips curled up slightly. "Fenger, second uncle is waiting for you here. Go ahead and do it." A warm feeling flowed through Yun Luofeng's heart. In this life, she was already satisfied with having these family members. "Humph." Yun Luo snorted and said unhappily, "Last time, you promised Laozi that you would bring Yun Xiao back to get married this time. Now tell me, where is Yun Xiao?" The corner of Yun Luofeng's mouth twitched. "Next time, I'll definitely bring him along." "Stinking girl, let me tell you, I only recognize Yun Xiao as my grandson-in-law. If you do something like pulling up your pants and not admitting to it, Laozi will definitely kick your butt." Yun Luofeng's forehead was filled with black lines. She really wanted to ask, "Is Yun Xiao your own, or is she picked up?" At this time, there were already people from the Yi family carrying old man Yi into the room. Yun Luofeng didn't say anything more. She walked into the room and began to treat Old Man Ye's body. With Yun Luofeng's current strength and the combination of spiritual medicine, as long as Old Man Ye still had a breath left, she could save him. Therefore, it didn't take long for Old Master Yi to open his eyes. What came into view was a beautiful face that was as beautiful as a painting. Feng you're back. Yun Luofeng gently nodded his head. I've returned. Moreover, I've even met up with Yun Shao. Unfortunately, he has other matters to attend to. Hence, I've returned alone. Ling and Chen have you seen them? Yun Luofeng was startled, father and mother. That's right. Not long ago, the two of them went to the 7 continents. Why didn't you see them? Hearing the old man's voice, Yun Luofeng frowned and shook his head. I didn't see them in the 7 continents. If they also went to that continent, we will meet sooner or later. Old Man Yi opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he swallowed the words back when they were on the tip of his tongue. Feng now that you're back, are you going to leave again soon? Yes, I have more important things to do. In order to prevent anyone from coming to the Yi family, she must go to the Sacred Maiden tribe to resolve this dispute. Alright, then go. No matter what, you must come back alive. Old Man Yi smiled faintly. His voice was no longer as weak as it was at the beginning, and his body had gradually recovered. Chapter 1669. Yun Luofeng remained silent. After a long while, she said, Take care. The Yi family. In the courtyard, Yun Ruoshue blinked her big watery eyes and looked innocently at the woman in white who was walking out. Cousin, are you leaving so soon? Yun Luofeng liked her cousin very much. She walked forward and gently patted Yun Ruoshue's head. A devilish smile appeared on her lips. Wait for me for 5 years. I'll definitely be back in 5 years. Yun Ruoshue nodded solemnly. Cousin, you're my goal. I'll work hard to catch up to you. Yun Luofeng smiled and looked at the Yi siblings. I'll wait for you in the 7 continents. I believe that with your talents, it'll only take you a few years to get to the 7 continents. Yi Jun was shocked. She gently pursed her red lips and had a complicated look in her eyes. Sister-in-law, I'll look for you and big brother as soon as possible. Yun Luofeng smiled and suddenly asked, By the way, why didn't I see Yi Shima and Yi Qi when I came back this time? Ever since I was born, I have rarely seen big brother. But not long ago, big brother came back once, and he even brought back my future sister-in-law. Because of this, big sister's heart was broken, and she left to train and never returned. Yun Luofeng fell silent when she heard this. She had long known that Yi Qi adored Yi Shima. Otherwise, she wouldn't have targeted her back then. However, Yi Shima had always treated Yi Qi as his younger sister and never had any improper thoughts. Therefore, Yi Qi was destined to be hurt in this unrequited love. To be honest, Yun Luofeng didn't have a good impression of Yi Qi. She had only accepted her because of Jun Fengling. You don't have to worry about this. Yi Qi will walk out on her own. When that time comes, she'll be able to find her Mr. Right. At this moment, a figure ran over in a hurry. That person was panting from running. When she saw Yun Luofeng, her eyes lit up and she hurried forward. Miss Yun, something bad has happened. Miss Yi Qi. She's been captured by the Holy Lady tribe. What? Yun Luofeng's face darkened. I've already killed the people of the Sacred Maiden tribe who came yesterday. It's impossible for anyone to escape. How did Yi Qi fall into the hands of the Sacred Maiden tribe? Could it be, those who came that day were not all the maidens of the Sacred Maiden tribe? One had to admit that Yun Luofeng had guessed correctly. Most of the maidens from the sacred maiden tribe had already arrived at the Yi family, but a few were arranged to stay outside the Fengyun country to provide support. When the news of the annihilation of the sacred maiden tribe came, those people wanted to go back to report. Who knew that at this time, they suddenly discovered the existence of Yi Qi, which also changed their plans. Initially, they did not know that Yi Qi was a member of the Yi family. However, a young master who was passing by had seen Yi Qi and talked about her with others. That was how the group of people knew Yi Qi's identity. After all, they had come to the Wuhui continent once. They couldn't return empty-handed. That was why Yi Qi had fallen into their hands. Sister-in-law, what should we do now? Yi Jun's face was pale. Big sister has been taken away by those bad guys. Yun Luofeng's eyes were gloomy, and his aura surged. It wasn't wrong that she didn't like Yi Qi. After all, Yi Qi was Jun Fengling's adopted daughter. If anything happened to Yi Qi, Jun Fengling would be heartbroken. Chapter 1670. She would not let go of anyone who made Jun Fengling grieve. You stay in the Yi family. Don't let anyone know about this. I'll go to the sacred maiden tribe. Yun Luofeng's face had calmed down. But, there seemed to be a storm in her black eyes. It was very frightening. I will never let go of anyone who dares to harm the Yi family. Swoosh. Yun Luofeng's figure turned into a flash of lightning and shot into the void in front of him. Yun Ruoxue was about to cry. Brother Xia, Sister Jun, will my cousin be in danger? No, Yi Jun shook her head and clenched her small fist. Grandpa said that sister-in-law is very powerful. There is nothing in this world that she can't do. So, let's listen to sister-in-law. Don't tell anyone about this, lest others worry. Since the sacred maiden tribe could come to the no-return continent, they must have their own wormhole. Therefore, when Yun Luofeng went to look for them, the sacred maiden tribe had already left. If he wanted to rescue Yi Qi, the only way was to personally go to the sacred maiden tribe. Master. Little Mo appeared beside Yun Luofeng out of thin air. Yesterday, he had already finished dealing with the Chu family's matter with Yi Xia and rushed to the Yi family. Who knew that such a situation would happen? I have a feeling that Xiao Bai has awakened. Xiao Bai is the heir of the sacred maiden tribe. When she wakes up, shall we go to the sacred maiden tribe? Little Mo's face was full of worry. Moreover, the sacred maiden tribe is very powerful. They can dominate the 7 continents. Among the 7 continents, there was no territory managed by the sacred maiden tribe. That was not because the sacred maiden tribe was not powerful enough. But, the sacred maiden tribe was too strong. They disdained being the continent's ruler. So much time was wasted on managing the continent. It was better to use it for cultivation. I can't wait. Yun Luofeng shook his head. But before going to the sacred maiden tribe, I have one more thing to do, the Steel Flame Legion. This time, she had another purpose in coming to the no-return continent. That was to bring the force that had accompanied her since the beginning back to the 7 continents. Unfortunately, when she went to the Endless City, everyone in the Steel Flame Legion had gone out to train. Therefore, she did not see them. But when he asked Guiyang to send a signal to the Steel Flame Legion and order them to rush back to Endless City, therefore, when Yun Luofeng returned to Endless City, the members of the Steel Flame Legion were already waiting for him. Miss. Master. The moment Qin Yan and Yiling saw Yun Luofeng, joy flashed in their eyes. They quickly walked up and looked at her excitedly. Miss, you're finally back. It had been 5 years since they last saw each other. She was finally back. When I return this time, I will take you away. But I don't have time to explain to you now. Wait for me inside the illusion. With a thought, Yun Luofeng sucked the people in front of her into her domain. Then, her body turned into a bolt of lightning once again and quickly disappeared. He didn't even give anyone time to ask questions. The 7 continents. The Maiden Tribe. As the door of the cell was pushed open, Yichi's body was thrown inside. She rubbed her arm that hurt from the fall and got up from the cold ground. Who are you people? Why did you capture me? Yichi's body trembled, and her lips turned pale. Her eyes were filled with terror and fear. Chapter 1671. Why did I capture you? A cold voice came from outside the cell. It was so cold that Yichi shivered. At that moment, she felt as if she had fallen into an ice house. Her entire body was bone-chilling. If you want to blame someone for this, blame Yun Luofeng. As his words subsided, a man and a woman walked in from outside the cell. Lady Qin Shui, I've already sent someone to investigate. This woman is Yun Luofeng's sister-in-law. If we capture her, Yun Luofeng will definitely appear. The man's lips curled into a smile. His mocking eyes swept across Yichi's pale face as he slowly spoke. Qin Shui was the one who had allied with the North Continent to deal with Yun Luofeng. She was also the older sister of the woman named Qin Yu who had died at the hands of Yun Luofeng in Xianqing sect. Su Jun, after I capture Yun Luofeng, I will also give you a chance to torture him personally. Qin Shui raised her chin slightly and said arrogantly. Su Jun, the young master of Xianqing sect. Back then, because Su Jun had failed to Wu Xiaobai, he had gone to the Holy Lady tribe to complain about Yun Luofeng. As a result, the powerful cultivators of the Holy Lady tribe thought that Yun Luofeng had kidnapped Xiaobai and had sent people to kill him. Who would have thought that Yun Luofeng had not only destroyed Xianqing sect but also killed Qin Yu? Su Jun would have died without a doubt. However, Qin Yu had used a secret technique to send him out, allowing him to keep his life. Yun Luofeng? Yichi's mouth gaped in shock. These people had captured her to deal with Yun Luofeng. Lady Qin Shui, back then, I sent someone to investigate Yun Luofeng's family situation. I also found out that this woman named Yichi seemed to have a dispute with Yun Luofeng. Hearing this, Qin Shui frowned. If that's the case, will Yun Luofeng come for her? Don't worry, Lady Qin Shui. Yun Luofeng will definitely come. This woman had always been loyal. For the sake of the Yi family, she had to save Yichi. However, I have a better idea. Su Jun sneered and turned to look at Yichi. There was a cunning light in his eyes. Yichi, I'll give you a chance. If you're willing to deal with Yun Luofeng with us, you'll definitely enjoy endless wealth in the future. Yichi snorted and turned her head away, refusing to look at Su Jun. Su Jun was not annoyed. He continued to tempt her. Yichi, do you know Lady Qin Shui's identity? Now, the elders of the Sacred Maiden tribe are in seclusion. In the entire Sacred Maiden tribe, Lady Qin Shui's status is the most powerful. If you rely on the Sacred Maiden tribe, you will be able to walk unhindered in the 7 continents. Moreover, many years ago, because of Yun Luofeng, you lost face and nearly lost your love. Could it be that you don't hate her at all? Yun Luofeng. Your people snatched away Xiaobai's heart and massacred my profound Azure sect. It would be too easy for you to die. I want you to taste the pain of being betrayed by your own family. Get lost. Yichi pointed at Su Jun angrily. You want me to join you? Dream on. If you have the ability, then kill me. If you don't, then don't talk nonsense. Su Jun's eyes darkened. Lord Qin Shui, this woman is simply refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. We should teach her a lesson. Hearing this, Qin Shui did not move. She looked at Yichi coldly and said slowly, Yichi, what Su Jun said is not unreasonable. If you're willing to rely on us, I'll give you a way out. Otherwise, you'll live in hell for the rest of your days. Chapter 1672. That was right. Ever since she met Yun Luo Feng, she had hated that woman. Who asked Big Brother to treat her so well? He had even reprimanded her for her sake. However, at that time, Yi Qi did not know that Yun Luo Feng was her sister-in-law. Her life was given by her adoptive parents. How could she bear to hurt them? Moreover, she was the one at fault. Hence, she had already accepted Yun Luofeng's existence. I never hated her. Yi Qi raised her head slightly. I owe the Yi family and my adoptive parents. If I can repay them with my life, I will have no regrets. Yi Qi, you don't have to rush to give me an answer. I will give you a few days to consider. Qin Shui laughed coldly. However, I will let you try our methods in the next few days. I hope that you will still be able to persevere after a few days. Su Jun, let's go. Then, Qin Shui slowly turned around with a murderous look in her eyes. Su Jun's lips curled into a sarcastic smile. Yun Luo Feng, you destroyed the Xian Qing sect. I will repay you with interest. Outside the prison, Qin Shui stopped in her tracks and looked coldly at Su Jun. In a few days, the elders will come out of seclusion. At that time, I will inform the elders of everything that has happened recently. So, Su Jun, let me ask you one last time. Has the successor of the Holy Lady tribe fallen into Yun Luofeng's hands? Su Jun gritted his teeth and nodded. Lady Qin Shui, this is absolutely true. Miss Lin was indeed taken away by Yun Luo Feng. He also wanted to force Miss Lin to marry his younger brother. The younger brother he was talking about was Xiao Mo. How could he not see how intimate Xiao Mo and Lin Ruobai were that day? How could he be happy when he thought that the woman he was about to woo had been snatched away by another man? Fortunately, Lin Ruobai had fallen into a coma. Perhaps she was already dead. This gave him a chance to frame Yun Luo Feng. Who asked Yun Luo Feng to appear and ruin his plan? Even if Yun Luo Feng claimed that Lin Ruobai was his disciple, would anyone in the Holy Lady tribe believe him? Suddenly, Su Jun laughed maniacally in his heart. He did not dare to show it on his face. His eyes were full of sorrow. Lady Qin Shui, you must avenge Miss Lin. Boom! Qin Shui's aura surged out, instantly destroying the trees on the side. Her eyes were cold. If what you say is true, then I will definitely tear Yun Luofeng's corpse into 1,000 pieces. This time, she didn't just do it for Lin Ruobai. She also wanted to avenge her sister. Therefore, regardless of whether Lin Ruobai was in Yun Luofeng's hands or not, this woman would undoubtedly die. The maidens of the sacred maiden tribe arrived on top of a cloudy mountain. The mist was dazzling, and the scenery was picturesque. At this moment, at the foot of the cloud mountain, the woman in white stopped in her tracks. Her slender fingers gently stroked her chin. She raised her eyebrows and looked at the towering cloud mountain, narrowing her eyes slightly. Master, since this mountain is where the sacred maiden tribe is located, there should be countless dangers. You must be careful. Little Mo's voice came from his soul. It's fine. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. These traps are not a problem. As soon as she finished speaking, Yun Luo Feng casually waved her hand, and the Skeleton Legion, which she had previously taken under her command in the Hidden God Mountain, descended from the sky. This was the first time she had used the Skeleton Corps ever since she had accepted them. Chapter 1673. With these skeletons, she no longer needed to be careful and avoid danger. Instead, she could rush to the sacred maiden tribe as quickly as possible. Boom. The Sacred Maiden Tribe. A powerful and ferocious force came from the forbidden area at the back of the mountain, causing the entire mountain to tremble. Qin Shui quickly ran out of the clan hall and looked at the back mountain, which was full of spiritual energy. Are the elders finally coming out of seclusion? Boom! 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 In an instant, lightning flashed and thunder roared. Lightning rushed straight down and struck the back mountain forbidden area. The whole sky was bright against this lightning. However, the momentum in the back mountain forbidden area did not dissipate for a long time. Thunder and lightning struck again, causing the mountain to shake. Lady Qin Shui, something bad has happened. A hurried voice came from the front. Immediately, a disciple of the Sacred Maiden Tribe came quickly. Her forehead was full of sweat, and she looked anxious. Lady Qin Shui, someone has attacked the Sacred Maiden Tribe. Attacked the Sacred Maiden Tribe. Qin Shui's face suddenly sank, and she said coldly, "Who is so bold as to attack the Sacred Maiden Tribe?" It's a group of skeletons." The voice of the disciple of the Sacred Maiden Tribe trembled a little. Skeletons. Qin Shui was startled, but she quickly recovered. The elders will soon come out of seclusion. Don't let anyone disturb them. If anyone comes, kill without mercy. As the last 3 words fell, Qin Shui's murderous aura spread and filled the entire mountain. The cell was dark and damp. Yi Qi's body fell to the ground in a sorry state. Her body was full of scars, her face was pale, and her eyes were full of fear. No one knew what kind of life she had been living in the past few days. Perhaps she was unwilling to experience this kind of pain a second time. Yi Qi, have you thought about it? Su Jun's voice suddenly came. If you are willing to agree to our request, not only can you regain your freedom, but you can also enter the Sacred Maiden Tribe. This is something that many people dream of. Yi Qi slowly raised her head. What do you want me to do? In a few days, the elder of the Holy Maiden Tribe will come out of seclusion. At that time, they will definitely capture Yun Luo Feng and interrogate him about this matter. I want you to come out and prove that not only did Yun Luo Feng kidnap the successor of the Holy Maiden Tribe, but he was also extremely harsh on her. Moreover, the successor of the Holy Maiden Tribe lived a miserable life in his hands. The elders of the Sacred Maiden Tribe were not as gullible as Qin Shui and her sister. If Qin Shui was unable to kill Yun Luo Feng before this, the elders of the Sacred Maiden Tribe would definitely encounter Yun Luo Feng. If they had Yi Qi's testimony, everything would be different. May I ask who the successor of your Sacred Maiden Tribe is? Lin Ruobai, Su Jun answered her question without hesitation. I know that you know about the relationship between Lin Ruobai and Yun Luo Feng. Unfortunately, Lin Ruobai is already dead. The dead cannot testify, so you can only help me. Yi Qi's body stiffened. The successor of the Sacred Maiden Tribe that they spoke of was actually Lin Ruobai. Furthermore, Lin Ruobai was dead. Now, you can tell me your decision. Su Jun raised his head. After a few days of torture, he believed that Yi Qi already knew what to choose. Yi Qi smiled and waved at Su Jun. Put your ear over here. I will tell you my decision. Su Jun did not suspect anything. He slowly walked to Yi Qi's side, squatted down, and put his ear over. Within the Sacred Maiden Tribe, Yi Qi did not dare to do anything else. Chapter 1674. Ah! A sharp cry resounded through the entire prison cell. Su Jun covered his bleeding ear and took a few steps back, glaring at Yi Qi angrily. You damned woman, how dare you bite me? Yi Qi sneered, her face full of mockery. My decision is still to never obey you. Good. Good, good, good. Su Jun was so angry that he laughed and even said a few words. I've given you one last chance, but but you didn't cherish it. You can't blame me. Slap. Su Jun walked in front of Yi Chi again, lifted her shirt, and slapped her. The sound was crisp and loud. Yi Chi's left cheek swelled up, and blood flowed from the corner of her lips. However, the mockery in her eyes was so strong that she looked at Su Jun fearlessly. Stupid girl. If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know the price you have to pay for your actions. Su Jun grabbed Yi Chi's hair and slammed her head against the wall. With a thud, Yi Chi felt her vision go black. It took her a long time to recover. Hit me then. Kill me if you have the guts. I'm Jun Fengling and Yi Jingchen's daughter. They taught me that I'd rather die than submit. No matter how many mistakes Yi Chi had made due to her naivety, she had never lost her pride. Who asked her mother to be Jun Fengling? Her father was Yi Jingchen. She would rather die than submit. That was her pride and aloofness. Ha ha ha. Su Jun laughed maniacally. His smile was ferocious. Rather die than submit? What if it's worse than death? Yi Chi's body stiffened, but her face was still determined. She would never submit. Nor would she do anything to hurt her godparents. To be honest, I've never had sex with another woman ever since I met Lin Ruobai. Although your looks can't be compared to Lin Ruobai's, you can still satisfy my thirst. Su Jun pushed Yi Chi's body to the ground and said viciously, I'd like to see Yun Luofeng's expression when he finds out that I've raped his sister-in-law. Yi Chi's eyes were finally filled with fear. She pushed the man on top of her with all her might, and her voice was heart-wrenching. No. No. She was indeed prepared to die, but that did not mean that she was willing to endure such humiliation. She would rather die than lose her chastity. Scared? But it's too late. Rip. Su Jun smiled coldly. He raised his hand and tore Yi Chi's clothes into pieces, revealing her snow-white breasts. At first, Su Jun only wanted to vent his anger, but when he saw the undulating scene, his most primitive impulse was aroused. He pressed Yi Chi tightly with both arms, and his eyes surged with lust. Yi Chi had already given up struggling. Her face was ashen and tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. She gently closed her eyes. If this was fate, then she could only accept it. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared in her mind. That face was not the big brother Yi Shima whom she missed dearly. Instead, it was the face of Yun Luofeng whom she had once regarded as her enemy. If there was anyone who could save her now, it could only be that powerful woman. However, he had treated her like this in the past. Would she really come? Outside the Holy Lady Clan's mountain gate, a group of undead skeletons rushed in. They were like a group of warriors who did not know pain and death. The two clusters of green flames in their eyes were like the flames of war. Chapter 1675. What kind of monsters are these? Why can't they be killed? Within the Sacred Maiden tribe, a group of disciples looked pale. They looked at the undying skeleton legion in front of them and retreated as if they were unable to resist. Yun Luofeng stood in the breeze. Her eyebrows and eyes were like a painting. Her beauty could topple a city. Her fine black hair fluttered in the wind. She was like a monarch overlooking all living beings. Tea, fire, little Mo, milk tea, Meng Meng, rat queen. As her voice fell, the spirit beasts that she had left in the illusion to cultivate appeared one by one. First, a fierce dog appeared. Then, a fiery red fox appeared. Immediately after, Milk Tea and the Rat Queen brought the gold-seeking rat clan to the Sacred Maiden tribe. The entire mountain was filled with gold-seeking rats. Little Mo was the last to appear. The young man was dressed in a brocade robe. He was handsome, with a young face and delicate features. But the young man's aura was frightening. It was like a raging sea that was sweeping over. These spirit beasts are all at the Great Sage Realm. When did the continent have so many Great Sage Realm spirit beasts? The faces of the disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe changed. Their eyes were filled with horror as they stared at the beasts that appeared out of thin air. T let out a roar and quickly rushed towards the people of the Sacred Maiden tribe. Fire stood in the void. Her 8 soft tails were shrouded in a layer of flames. Her fiery eyes were slightly burning with anger. Countless flames surged from her body, igniting the trees and flowers around her. The rat tribe leaped and rushed towards the disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe. They opened their mouths and bit down. With a ripping sound, a piece of flesh was torn off. Little Mo didn't move. In his opinion, it was enough for the spirit beasts to attack. He just needed to watch the show. Stop! Suddenly, an angry roar came from the void and lingered in the air for a long time. Qin Shui swooped down and landed in front of everyone. Her cold eyes were surging with anger. She said coldly, "Yun Luo Feng, you actually have the guts to come to my Sacred Maiden tribe. Are you walking into a trap?" Yun Luo Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. "Where is Yi Qi?" "Humph." Qin Shui snorted coldly, "You kidnapped the successor of our Sacred Maiden tribe and killed my sister. I will make your relatives pay for this. This time, my people failed to capture your grandfather, but your aunt has fallen into our hands." Yun Luo Feng raised her hand, and a sharp gust of wind leaped out from her palm, crashing towards Qin Shui with a boom. Seeing the incoming wind, Qin Shui's eyes darkened. She raised her sword to block. At that moment, she felt a heavy blow to her chest. She could not help but take a few steps back. Yun Luofeng's strength was indeed formidable. No! No! This woman must not be allowed to grow any further. Otherwise, no one in the 7 continents would be able to do anything to her. Yun Luo Feng, your fiancé's sister has fallen into my hands. If you don't lay down your arms and surrender, I have 10,000 ways to make her suffer a fate worse than death. Yun Luofeng's evil eyes looked at Qin Shui, and his beautiful face gently curved into an evil smile. Then who do you think will die first, her or you? Qin Shui's expression changed. What do you mean by that? If she dies, she will probably be satisfied to have you accompany her in death. Yun Luo Feng gradually approached Qin Shui. If this was before, when she had first confronted the people of the Sacred Maiden tribe, Yun Luo Feng did not have the confidence to become enemies with the Sacred Maiden tribe. However, there was no longer anyone on this mainland who could endure her. Chapter 1676. I want to enter the Sacred Maiden tribe now. Those who stop me will be killed without mercy. Those who obstruct me will be killed without mercy. The woman's voice was arrogant and domineering, echoing endlessly in the sky. Yun Luo Feng, I admit that you are very strong, but my Sacred Maiden tribe is not weaker than you. Qin Shui's face was ice cold. Ever since she had become a protector of the Sacred Maiden tribe, no one had dared to treat her like this. Hua! A strong gust of wind blew, and his aura rose. Qin Shui's hair fluttered in the wind, and her eyes were extremely cold. Yun Luo Feng was unmoved. His evil eyes stared at Qin Shui, whose aura was rising, expressionlessly. Yun Luo Feng, I will make you pay for your arrogance. Boom! Qin Shui's body turned into a hurricane as she shot towards Yun Luo Feng. Killing intent surged from her body as she planned to kill the woman in front of her. Facing the ferocious Qin Shui, Yun Luo Feng slowly raised his hand. The two hands collided. A powerful force spread from the two of them, rolling up a cloud of dust. The disciples of the sacred maiden tribe who were closer to them were instantly sent flying by this force and fell to the ground in embarrassment. Puchi! Qin Shui spat out a mouthful of blood and took 2 steps back. She glared at the woman in front of her with a hideous expression. In comparison, Yun Luofeng was much calmer. She shook her numb arm and stared at Qin Shui with evil eyes. I'll ask you one last time. Where is Yi Qi? If the sacred maiden tribe insisted on not handing over the person, then she didn't mind carving out a bloody path. Hee hee. Qin Shui laughed. Her laughter was low and sinister. Yun Luofeng, you are a genius. If you had come a few days earlier, perhaps I would have died in your hands. However, today, the elder of our sacred maiden tribe has come out of seclusion. No matter how strong you are, in the face of absolute strength, you will be vulnerable. Just as Qin Shui's words fell, the spiritual energy fluctuations that appeared in the sky above the sacred maiden tribe's back mountain disappeared. Then, an old voice with a low tone sounded in the sky. This old man has been in seclusion for several years. When I finally came out, I saw someone coming to my sacred maiden tribe to make trouble. I don't know what hatred you have with my sacred maiden tribe. So ruthless. Elder. Qin Shui was delighted and hurriedly looked at the few figures floating in the void. There weren't many people in the void, only 3. However, these 3 people were the elders of the sacred maiden tribe, and they were also the supreme existences in the tribe. Elders, you've finally come out of seclusion. More than 10 years, since the disappearance of the patriarch more than a decade ago, the elders had collectively entered seclusion, leaving the holy maiden tribe behind. Now that more than 10 years had passed, they must have achieved something in order to break out of seclusion. However, only the people of the sacred maiden tribe would know that an elder was in seclusion. Otherwise, if people from the outside world knew about it, the status of the sacred maiden tribe would be in jeopardy. This was also the reason why the sacred maiden tribe had disappeared. There were no men in the holy maiden tribe. Even the elders were all women. The 3 girls appeared to be very young. Perhaps it was because they had taken good care of their bodies, but there were no traces of age on their faces. Only their white hair revealed their age. Greetings, Elder Red, Elder Blue, and Elder Green. When the people of the sacred maiden tribe saw the appearance of several elders, they knelt down and greeted them. However, from the way they addressed each other, it could be heard that the title of these elders was based on their clothes. Chapter 1677. Miss, forgive and forget. No matter how big the fault of my sacred maiden tribe is, it is not an excuse for you to exterminate the sacred maiden tribe. The elder in cyan had a serious look on her face as she spoke coldly. In the past, if she saw a genius like Yun Luofeng, she would have desperately taken her in as a subordinate. However, she did not ignore that Yun Luofeng had killed many people of the sacred maiden tribe. Based on this alone, she would not accept her. I am just looking for someone. Yun Luofeng's voice sounded indifferently. Looking for someone. The elder in cyan smiled coldly. My sacred maiden tribe does not have the person you are looking for. If she had not come out of seclusion, she could imagine what kind of massacre the sacred maiden tribe would have suffered. Based on this alone, she could not forgive these people. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and glanced at Qin Shui. I am afraid you have to ask her about this matter. She took away my fiancé's sister. I am here to save my sister. The elders furrowed their brows and looked at Qin Shui. Qin Shui glared at Yun Luofeng and snorted. It's like this. Some time ago, I have found out where the heir of our sacred maiden tribe is. More than 10 years ago, the leader of the sacred maiden tribe suddenly disappeared. When she returned, she was already pregnant. The women of the sacred maiden tribe were not allowed to get married. After hearing about this, Several elders were furious. But who asked her to be the leader of the Sacred Maiden tribe? Even if the rules of the Sacred Maiden tribe were not allowed to be changed, they could not do anything to the leader, who knew that a prophet of the Sacred Maiden tribe had predicted that the child of the leader would be extremely powerful in the future. Because of this, the Sacred Maiden tribe had acquiesced to her arrival. Unexpectedly, after the prophet's prophecy, the leader disappeared again, and the prophet also disappeared. However, before the prophet left, she asked several elders to improve their strength. When their strength was strong enough, they could find the leader and bring her back. For this reason, several elders went into seclusion and left a message to Qin Shua and her sister, who had just been promoted to protectors, that they must find the daughter of the leader and make her the heir of the Sacred Maiden tribe. Even though the leader had gone to a place that they could not reach for the time being, the daughter of the leader was still in this world. With the items left behind by the prophet, it was no longer difficult to find a successor. But no matter how they thought about it, they never thought that the successor of the Holy Maiden tribe was not within the 7 continents. Therefore, after searching for more than 10 years, he finally obtained this information. The few elders held their breaths and hurriedly asked, "Are you telling the truth? Where is the successor now?" Qin Shua gritted her teeth. "My successor was kidnapped by this woman. My sister, Qin Yu, was also killed by her in order to find my successor. Fortunately, the young sect master of the Profound Azure sect, Su Jun, came to inform me and I found out about this matter." All the elders' expressions changed drastically. "Is what you said true? If this woman really hurt the successor, then the Sacred Lady tribe would never let her off." "Absolutely." Qin Shua raised her chin. Originally, Su Jun was going to die in the hands of this woman. It was Qin Yu who sent him out of danger before she died. Her purpose was to let me know about this. If Elder doesn't believe me, I can find Su Jun and he will tell you the truth. Facing Qin Shua's voice, Yun Luofeng didn't move. He didn't even try to defend himself. Because, just now, Bai Xiao had told her one thing. Xiao Bai was about to wake up. Chapter 1678. Prison. Su Jun pressed down on Yi Qi fiercely. Her clothes had been torn into pieces, revealing her snow-white and smooth body. Yi Qi's eyes were filled with fear and tears. She bit her lips hard and stared at Su Jun with hatred. Tisk. Su Jun raised his hand and pinched Yi Qi's body. "Look at you. You're still a virgin. It's a pity that you've offended me. Otherwise, I would have been more lenient." Yi Qi's body trembled. Her snow-white skin was bruised by Su Jun. Her pale face was drenched in sweat. "If you dare to touch me, my adoptive parents will definitely avenge me. They definitely will. Then I'll wait for them to come find me for revenge." Finally, Yi Qi was naked from head to toe. Looking at this tempting body, Su Jun sneered twice and planned to stand up straight. Who knew, at this moment, a disciple of the Sacred Maiden tribe ran in with a bang. If this was the Profound Azure sect, Su Jun would have already killed the person who disturbed him. However, this was the Sacred Maiden tribe. No matter how dissatisfied he was, he did not dare to show it. The Sacred Maiden tribe was full of women, and Su Jun was a special case. Therefore, these women were all inexperienced. Now seeing such a scene, they were dumbfounded on the spot and looked at Su Jun with eyes full of disgust. "Su Jun, Our Lady Qin Shua allowed you to stay in the Sacred Maiden tribe for the sake of your merit in finding a successor. I didn't expect you to dare do such a dirty thing in our Sacred Maiden tribe." Su Jun suppressed the displeasure in his heart and forced a smile on his face. "You misunderstood. I was just scaring her. Who told her to be so disobedient? How could I dare to defile the Sacred Maiden tribe's clean territory?" The disciple of the Sacred Maiden tribe snorted coldly. Apparently, she did not believe Su Jun's explanation. The elder has come out of seclusion. Lady Qin Shui wants you to go. Su Jun was taken aback. The elder is here. Why do you want me to go over? Because Yun Luofeng has also attacked the Holy Maiden clan. Lady Qin Shui wants you to go and point out Yun Luofeng. Boom. Yi Qi's mind was buzzing, and only a few words appeared in her mind. Yun Luofeng had also attacked the Holy Maiden tribe. She's here. Was he here to save her? Yi Qi's lips trembled slightly. She never thought that Yun Luofeng would really come to save her. Then I'll have to trouble you to lead the way. Su Jun pretended to be a gentleman and smiled. However, his actions just now had already made the disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe extremely disgusted. The disciple hesitated for a while, then took off his coat and threw it to Yi Qi. Put on your clothes first. The most important thing for a woman is her innocence. No matter how big a mistake she made, she shouldn't have her innocence tarnished by others. Her words were obviously directed at Su Jun. The people of the Sacred Maiden tribe were very arrogant, condescending, and even self-righteous, but they had always adhered to their chastity. They could not stand Su Jun's beastly behavior, so they did not give him any face. If it weren't for Lady Qin Shui, she would have driven this stinky man out of the Sacred Maiden tribe long ago, lest he tarnish such a sacred and beautiful place, above Cloud Mountain, inside the clan gate. Little Mo's face turned red with anger as he glared at the crowd. At this moment, he saw Su Jun, who was led by the disciples of the Holy Maiden tribe, rushing over. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. You are Su Jun. The elder in green glanced at Su Jun and frowned. She was very dissatisfied with the appearance of a man from the Sacred Maiden tribe. Chapter 1679. Su Jun hurriedly stepped forward and replied respectfully. Elder, I am Su Jun. This time, I came to the Sacred Maiden tribe for Miss Lin. Is what you said true? The elder in green's face darkened. If Yun Luofeng really did something to the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe, then, he would not let her go. Of course, he was not as gullible as Qin Shui. Even if Yun Luofeng's act of killing the Sacred Maiden tribe's people made him angry, he would not blindly believe that the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe had fallen into his hands. Elder, I've seen this with my own eyes. It can't be false. Su Jun glared fiercely at Yun Luofeng before turning his gaze towards the furious Xiao Mo. A vicious light flashed across his eyes as he said, "This boy is Yun Luofeng's younger brother. I don't know how Yun Luofeng found out about Miss Lin's identity, but he's forcing Miss Lin to marry his younger brother. Who knew that Miss Lin would rather die than comply? That's why she was killed by these people." Su Jun snorted. Now that Lin Ruobai was not here, no one could prove Yun Luofeng's innocence. These people from the Sacred Maiden tribe would definitely not let her go. The elders' faces did not look too good. If what Su Jun said was true, these people were really audacious. Qin Shui sneered. You want to have designs on the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe? Why don't you look at yourself first? How can you be worthy of her? Elder, let's not talk nonsense with these people. Let's just kill them. Xiao Mo clenched his fists tightly. Anger flashed across his handsome face. I have long heard that the Sacred Maiden tribe has always been unreasonable. Now that I have seen it, it is indeed true. How dare you? All the elders were enraged. Regardless of whether the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe is in your hands or not, you must stay in the Sacred Maiden tribe until we find out the truth. The elder in red paused and continued. Also, after we find out whether Su Jun's words are true, I will calculate the losses of the Sacred Maiden tribe with you. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and looked at the elders of the sacred maiden tribe. His lips gently raised in a shallow smile. What if? I don't want to stay. Ha! The green-clothed elder laughed out loud, and the ridicule in his eyes intensified. Now that you've come to the sacred maiden tribe, you can't leave whenever you want. Men, arrest these people for me and await punishment. Yes, elder. The disciples of the sacred maiden tribe were stunned. The appearance of the elder had ignited their fighting spirit. Without hesitation, they rushed towards Yun Luofeng. Unfortunately, be it the beasts or the skeleton core, none of them would give them a chance. Under the gentle breeze, the woman stood with her hands behind her back. Her white clothes fluttered in the wind, and she was as beautiful as snow. Her evil aura was indifferent. Even though she was in such a bad situation, her expression did not change. The elder in green sighed helplessly. This woman is very outstanding. If she was accepted into the sacred maiden tribe, it would increase the strength of the sacred maiden tribe again. Unfortunately, the woman in front of them had already formed an incomprehensible enmity with the sacred maiden tribe. Little Amo heard the voices of the elders and laughed sarcastically. I'm sorry, even if there were no grudges, my master would not have joined your holy maiden tribe. Why? Because, my master's husband will come and destroy your sacred maiden tribe. The disciples of the sacred maiden tribe were not allowed to marry in their lifetime. This also led to the purity of the people of the sacred maiden tribe. Otherwise, they would not have been deceived by Su Jun. Chapter 1680. The elder in green's expression was very ugly. He snorted, "What's so good about those stinky men from the outside world? I will not let those stinky men tarnish the innocence of the disciples of the sacred maiden tribe. Moreover, the person you mentioned, if he really has the ability, he can come and destroy the sacred maiden tribe. I'm afraid he doesn't have the strength." Little Amo curled his lips. He was too lazy to fight with these people. His gaze turned to the two sides that were fighting. The skeleton core was indestructible and the spiritual beasts were also extremely fierce. Soon, the disciples of the sacred maiden tribe were at a disadvantage. Not good. The elder in green's eyes darkened. A sharp light flashed in her eyes. With a swoosh, her body turned into a sharp light and shot towards Yun Luofeng like a sharp sword. Seeing that the elder in green was about to step forward, Yun Luofeng had already slowly stretched out his hand, intending to receive the other party's attack. However, at this moment, there was a loud bang, and a powerful aura surged out from Yun Luofeng's body. Perhaps it was because of this aura that even Yun Luofeng himself froze, unable to move, let alone the green-robed elder who was charging towards him. They only heard a childish voice slowly ring out, domineering to the clouds. "Who dares to touch my mother?" In the air, a young figure gradually revealed itself. The young boy was wearing a brocade robe that did not fit him and could only cover his knees. His arms and legs were very white and slender. At such a young age, he had the aura of a king and was so powerful. The elder in green's eyes flashed with vigilance. This little fellow looked very young, but for some reason, he gave off a very strong sense of oppression. It was as if he was the son of the devil, extremely shocked. Moreover, the ground around the young boy was floating with jade-green tree vines. These tree vines swayed in the wind and were very lifelike, surrounding the young boy in the middle. Little tree. Yun Luofeng had long known that the little tree would also wake up in the near future, but he did not expect that he would wake up so soon. A few months ago, the little tree still looked like a 5- or 6-year-old child. Now that a few short months had passed, after he woke up, he looked like an 8- or 9-year-old boy. Clearly, this time's deep sleep had greatly benefited the little tree. "It's just a child," Qin Shui sneered. go and kill this child first." Upon hearing Qin Shui's words, Su Jun's heart skipped a beat. He had witnessed Xiao Shu's strength in the profound Azure sect. It was this youth who instantly killed Qin Shui's twin sister, Qin Yu. However, the little tree was only about 5 years old at that time. Why did he suddenly grow into an 8 or 9-year-old boy after a few months? Yes, Lady Qin Shui. Several disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe stepped forward. Their speed was so fast that the elders could not stop them. Wait. The face of the elder in green clothes changed drastically. It was obviously too late to stop the actions of the disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe. These reckless disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe had already arrived in front of the small tree. "You want to kill me?" The sapling lazily looked at the disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe who were rushing over, and a smile gradually appeared on her tender and lovely face. His smile was full of sarcasm. Whoosh! The tree vines moved at the sound of the wind, like the sharpest killing weapon in the world. When the disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe approached, the tree vines that had turned into sharp weapons instantly pierced through their chests. Qin Shui's face was extremely pale. Her lips trembled slightly, and her footsteps kept retreating. Chapter 1681. The disciples of my Sacred Maiden tribe are all elites. How can a child have such power? The elder in Cyan's expression did not look any better. Can't you see that this is not a human child? If I'm not wrong, he should be a tree. A tree? Qin Shui's body stiffened. If it was someone else, they might not be able to see through the identity of the small tree. However, the Sacred Maiden tribe did not lack trees with intelligence. Therefore, the elder in Cyan could know the true identity of the small tree. Impossible. Trees can develop intelligence, but they cannot transform into humans like spirit beasts, just like the lost tree of life of our Sacred Maiden tribe. Qin Shui bit her lip tightly and could not believe what she had seen. Su Jun, who was still hiding behind the crowd, suddenly said, "Elders, Lady Qin Shui, only the Sacred Maiden tribe deserves to have the tree man. Therefore, you should take this tree man back." "No, it should be, let this woman return the tree man intact." Qin Shui's eyes moved. If the Sacred Maiden tribe could get this tree man, their strength would double. In contrast, the elders' faces sank again, and their cold eyes shot to Su Jun behind the crowd. Idiots who wish for the world to be in chaos. This tree man was very strong. Wasn't it equivalent to seeking death to snatch the tree man with their own abilities? Moreover, for a tree that had developed intelligence, it would be more difficult than ascending to the sky to make it loyal. It was no wonder that the elders were furious with Su Jun's words. "Miss," the elder in Cyan took a deep breath and looked up at Yun Luofeng. "You have also killed many people of our Sacred Maiden tribe. Why don't we write off this account? A wise man submits to the circumstances. This tree man's strength was extraordinary, so they had to be careful." Yun Luofeng raised an eyebrow. "Let me leave, I can, but I have 2 requirements. First, my sister must appear in front of me unscathed. If she loses a single strand of hair, I will kill 1 person. If she loses 2 strands, I will kill 2 people until the entire Sacred Maiden tribe is wiped out." Su Jun's eyelids twitched and he subconsciously took 2 steps back. He saw that his words did not provoke the possessiveness of the Sacred Maiden tribe and could only find a way to leave this place. Second, Yun Luofeng paused, then continued, "Anyone who participated in the kidnapping of my sister must be handed over to me." The elders looked at each other. In the end, it was the green-robed elder who had a better temper who said, "Miss, I can let your sister go. As for your other requests, please forgive me for not being able to agree." Yun Luofeng shrugged. "Since that's the case, there's no need to negotiate. Miss, do you really think that our sacred maiden tribe is easy to bully? That's right, your tree men are indeed very powerful, but my sacred maiden tribe has been passed down for so many years. It's not like we don't have any means. If you insist on fighting, my sacred maiden tribe will accompany you to the end. The green-robed elder was getting impatient. It's not wrong that you, Yun Luo Feng, have a treant, but my sacred maiden tribe has been passed down for so many years and still holds the highest position, precisely because of the sacred maiden tribe's trump card. Otherwise, the sacred maiden tribe would not have remained in such a high position after the disappearance of the patriarch. 1. Just as the elders of the sacred maiden tribe were threatening Yun Luo Feng with words, Yun Luo Feng gave an irrelevant answer and said a number. Everyone was stunned. They did not understand what she meant. 2. The woman's lips curled up, her dark eyes incomparably deep. Chapter 1682. The green-clothed elder's face darkened. Miss, what do you mean? Are you looking down on us? Yun Luo Feng continued speaking as if he had not heard her words. 3. An evil smile suddenly appeared on her beautiful face, and her black eyes gradually turned to Su Jun, who was about to escape. Are you sure that Xiao Bai was kidnapped by me? Su Jun stopped in his tracks when he heard Yun Luo Feng's words. He raised his head in surprise and looked straight into the woman's half-smiling eyes. When he saw the smile in the woman's eyes, Su Jun felt a sense of unease. Before he could figure out what was going on, a familiar voice appeared out of thin air and fell into everyone's ears. Master, what's going on with that woman called Bai Xiao? Why does she call me successor? And what is this place? Lin Ruobai's body swayed and disappeared from the tree of life. When she opened her eyes, she was frightened by everything in front of her. This. What's going on? Master is fighting with someone. No way. As a disciple, I must help Master fight. Thinking of this, Lin Ruobai excitedly rubbed her small fists with an evil smile on her face. In fact, when Yun Luo Feng counted to 3, Lin Ruobai had already woken up. However, she was frightened by Bai Xiao and was in a daze for a while. Who knew that Bai Xiao did not explain anything to her and kicked her out of the tree of life, so she was still kept in the dark until now. Bai Xiao. The tree of life, Bai Xiao. Qin Shue's body suddenly stiffened, and she stared angrily at Yun Luo Feng. So it was you who stole our holy maiden tribe's tree of life. She only heard the 2 words Bai Xiao, and as for how Bai Xiao addressed Lin Ruobai, she had ignored it. Shut up. The green-clothed elder, who was still in a daze, suddenly slapped Qin Shue's face. In an instant, her cheeks were red and swollen. Elder, the green-clothed elder suddenly walked quickly toward Lin Ruobai. Lin Ruobai was shocked. When she regained her senses, she shouted angrily, "Get lost! Those who fought with Master were not good people." Bang! Lin Ruobai's strength slammed into the azure-clothed elder's body, and the completely defenseless azure-clothed elder instantly retreated 2 steps. The instant Lin Ruobai made his move, the azure-clothed elder saw a red light in the girl's eyes. This red light was not a bloodthirsty light. Instead, it was as dazzling as a flame. It filled his eyes, but it disappeared in a flash. That's right, it's her. She's the young clan leader. I can't be wrong. Qin Shui was stunned. This young lady was the young clan leader. If he didn't hear wrongly, she seemed to have called Yun Luo Feng master before. Master, who is this old pervert? Lin Ruobai pursed her lips and tilted her head to look at Yun Luo Feng. She immediately noticed little Mo, who was standing beside Yun Luo Feng. Thus, her eyes immediately lit up. Little Mo was still thinking about the problem, but when he looked up, he found that Lin Ruobai had already rushed in front of him, hugged his neck tightly, and kissed him on the lips. Little Amo was completely dumbfounded by what he saw. His first kiss was taken away by this girl. Although Lin Ruobai had kissed him before, she had kissed his cheeks. This time, she actually kissed his lips. Little Amo, I missed you so much. Lin Ruobai giggled. Now that I've recovered, I have to fulfill my promise to marry you. Chapter 1683. Xiao Amo blushed. If it was a few years ago, he would have rejected Little White's words in front of everyone. But now, he was so shy that he couldn't say a word. In particular, the girl's soft and sweet lips made him want to kiss them again. It's you. Lin Ruobai finally saw Su Jun. Her cute little face immediately fell. Although Lin Ruobai had lost her memories in the past, she still remembered everything that had happened during that period of time. She also knew that Su Jun had been pestering her. Su Jun had originally wanted to take this opportunity to escape, but who knew that Lin Ruobai's words would cause everyone's gaze to converge on Su Jun, forcing him to stop in his tracks, his handsome face turning deathly pale. Humph. Lin Ruobai put her hands on her hips and raised her chin proudly. Back then, I lost my memory and was ignorant of everything. That's why I was deceived by someone like you and lived with you for a year. What's funny is that you want me to leave Master. My master is not only my savior, but also my achievements today are all thanks to her teachings. Lin Ruobai became angrier the more she thought about it. She wanted to slap herself. Why did she believe such a person? She even caused trouble for her master. At this point, Lin Ruobai paused for a moment before continuing. Aside from this, my master is my only relative other than my parents. What right do you have to make me abandon my family and follow you? In an instant, everyone's eyes were focused on Su Jun's face. Their eyes were filled with surprise, disbelief, and anger. Of course, the last angry look came from Qin Shui. Lin Ruobai still didn't know what happened and was still listing Su Jun's crimes. Moreover, I already have Xiao Mo. It's even more impossible for me to like you. The only husband I want to marry is Xiao Mo. But you bastard, you want to harm my master and Xiao Mo because of this. I will never let you go. Su Jun's face turned from green to white, then from white to green. Qin Shui screamed and rushed towards Su Jun. She kicked Su Jun's chest and sent him flying. That was not enough. She had already rushed to Su Jun and punched him in the face. Tears of anger flowed from her eyes. Bastard, you lied to me, you actually lied to me. Qin Shui shouted herself hoarse, wishing that she could vent all of her anger on Su Jun. If it weren't for you, my sister wouldn't have died, so many people from the Sacred Maiden tribe wouldn't have died, and I wouldn't have been implicated. It's all because of you, you bastard, who spread lies to avenge your personal grudge. That's why you've harmed so many people. Su Jun was beaten to the point where he had no strength to resist. In a short moment, his handsome face swelled up like a pig's head, and fresh blood flowed out of his mouth. Lin Ruobai looked at Yun Luofeng in confusion. Master, what exactly is going on? At this moment, little Amo had gradually regained his composure. He walked to Yun Luofeng's side, but his eyes were still on Lin Ruobai. Xiao Bai, it's like this. Next, little Amo told Lin Ruobai about the matter. When Lin Ruobai learned that he was the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe and that Su Jun had used this matter to frame Yun Luofeng, his anger was instantly ignited, and he angrily turned to Qin Shui. Get out of my way. Let me do it. Anyone who bullied Master deserved to die. Chapter 1684. Qin Shui was stunned for a moment. Before she could react, she saw Lin Ruobai's body flying towards Su Jun. Aw. A heart-wrenching scream echoed through the clouds and lingered for a long time. Su Jun's face was pale from the pain and he almost fainted. If it wasn't for his strong willpower, he would have died from the pain. Little Amo looked at Lin Ruobai in a daze. Her body shivered involuntarily. Master, I think, if I marry Xiaobai, I can't provoke her in the future. Otherwise, even if I don't die, I will lose half my life. Yun Luofeng curled his lips and looked at little Amo with a smile that was not a smile. It seemed that little Amo had tacitly agreed to marry Lin Ruobai as her husband. Coincidentally, Lin Ruobai's foot landed on Su Jun's crotch. Coupled with the fact that she was flying through the air, the force of her attack was unimaginable. Blood even flowed from his crotch, staining the ground red. Who asked you to bully my master and frame her? Lin Ruobai's eyes flashed red. With a bang, her small fist landed on Su Jun's body. Boom! A large part of Su Jun's chest caved in. It was obvious that Lin Ruobai's fist had broken his ribs and there was no way to repair them. Su Jun's mouth continued to bleed. He looked at Lin Ruobai with fear in his eyes and said in a muffled voice, I saved you in the past, humph. Lin Ruobai snorted softly. Her small fists continued to land on Su Jun's face, causing him to be unable to utter another word. That's right, you did save me when I lost my memory, but you thought that I liked you. You even framed my master because of this. It seems that you had an ulterior motive for taking me in. Even if I disregard this, I will never forgive you for bullying my master. So what if she was ungrateful? Even if she was cursed by the world, she would never forgive anyone who bullied her master. Yun Luofeng retracted his gaze from Lin Ruobai's body. His evil eyes stared at Qin Shui. Where are my people? Qin Shui's face paled. These days, in order to force Yi Qi to betray Yun Luofeng, she had sent people to torture her. If Yun Luofeng were to see Yi Qi, who knew what methods he would use to torture her? Qin Shui, tell me, where is the girl you captured? The faces of several elders of the sacred maiden tribe sank, and they scolded sternly. Only now did the elders realize that they had misunderstood Yun Luofeng and had almost attacked the young patriarch's master. In the eyes of the few elders, this was insubordination. All of this was because Qin Shui trusted others too easily. If that girl was harmed in the sacred maiden tribe, the anger of the young patriarch and Miss Yun could be imagined. Qin Shui was silent as she kept thinking about countermeasures. She had indeed been torturing Yi Qi for the past few days, but it was not very serious. Perhaps Yun Luofeng would spare her life in the end. Just as she was thinking about how to free herself, the elders were already impatient and turned their eyes to the other disciples of the sacred maiden tribe. Where is the woman that Qin Shui brought back? Reporting to Elder Green Shirt, a woman walked out slowly. This woman was the one who had gone to the prison to look for Su Jun and handed Yi Qi a piece of clothing. Chapter 1685. That lady is locked up in a cell, but... She paused, not knowing if she should say those things. Yun Luofeng's heart skipped a beat. Did something happen to Yi Qi? Take me to the cell right now. Yi Qi was her parents' adopted daughter. If something really happened to her, everyone in the Yi family would mourn for her. That was something she did not want to see. The woman pondered for a while and finally said it. Elder, after Lady Qin Shui brought Miss Yi back, she forced her to betray Miss Yun. Who knew that Miss Yi would rather die than obey? So Lady Qin Shui used torture on her. Torture. Several elders frowned. They did not know if the torture was serious. If it was not serious, perhaps they could plead for mercy and spare Qin Shui's life. After all, they had watched Qin Shui grow up. How could they bear to kill her? At most, she would be kicked out of the Sacred Maiden tribe. Unfortunately, they didn't know that Yun Luofeng had always been someone who would pay back 100-fold for hurting her. Not to mention that Yi Qi was punished, even if it was just a strand of hair, she wouldn't easily forgive Qin Shui. But the woman looked at the elder carefully. When I went to find Su Jun was raping Miss Yi. At that time, Miss Yi was naked and her face was full of tears. But I don't know if Su Jun succeeded. When she thought of Su Jun's beastly behavior, she felt a little indignant. The people of the Sacred Maiden tribe could not bear to see a man tarnishing a woman's innocence. Even killing Yi Qi was better than forcibly taking her. Boom! Yun Luofeng's mind suddenly exploded. His anger spread out, and his entire person seemed to be filled with murderous intent. Su Jun actually tarnished Yi Qi. Good, very good. Anyone who was involved in this matter, she would not let go of a single person. Xiao Imo, you and the others keep an eye on the people of the Sacred Maiden tribe. No one is allowed to leave, Yun Luofeng ordered. She then turned to the disciple of the Sacred Maiden tribe coldly. Take me to the cell. She did not forget what the disciple of the Sacred Maiden tribe had said before. Qin Shui forced Yi Qi to betray her, but Yi Qi refused. She would rather endure torture and be tarnished than betray her. Therefore, at this moment, no matter how big the dispute between him and Yi Qi was, it all disappeared with this sentence. Yes, Miss Yun. The disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe said respectfully. In the cell, Yi Qi had put on the clothes that the disciples of the Sacred Maiden tribe had thrown to her. Her body was curled up in the corner, and her delicate body was trembling. Her face was full of tears. She bit her lips tightly and stared at the door without blinking. Creak, the door to the cell was pushed open. Sunlight shone into the cell and shone on the woman's tear-stained face. At the door, Bai walked in slowly like a god descending from the sky. He appeared in Yi Qi's eyes. Yi Qi, who had been pretending to be strong these days, finally collapsed the moment she saw the woman. She forced herself to stand up, but she staggered a few times and finally fell to the ground. However, just as she was about to fall, a hand reached out from behind and gently held her body. Yi Qi wanted to say something, but before she could, Yun Luofeng stuffed a pill into her mouth. The fragrance of the medicine flowed into her mouth, making her body feel much more comfortable. Thank you. Yi Qi bit her lip and looked up at the woman who was holding her. Chapter 1686. Thank you for saving me. This time, her thanks were very sincere, and her tearful eyes were very serious. You don't have to thank me. Yun Luofeng paused and continued, you are a member of the Yi family. It is only right for me to save you. Besides, you didn't betray me, did you? Yi Qi smiled. This smile was equivalent to throwing away the past grievances from the bottom of her heart. I will remember your kindness. In the future, I will repay you. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows. In fact, if it weren't for me, the people of the Sacred Maiden tribe would not have caught you, but you still came to save me after all. Yi Qi slowly left Yun Luofeng's embrace and looked at the Sacred Maiden tribe disciple who brought Yun Luofeng. If you hadn't come in time, I might have been killed by Su Jun, she said very seriously. And you, who could have ignored it, handed me the clothes. So, I will remember this for the rest of my life. She was not a person who did not know how to repay kindness. If others helped her, she would never refuse if they needed her help in the future. The Sacred Maiden tribe disciple smiled slightly. You have already repaid the kindness. After all, she was Qin Shui's subordinate. She should be punished for making such a mistake. But, Yi Qi's inadvertent words could save her life. Hearing this, Yi Qi's eyes were very confused. She did not understand what the Sacred Maiden Tribe disciple meant. Yun Luo Feng turned to the Sacred Maiden Tribe disciple. Even though his face was as cold as ever, it no longer gave her a sense of oppression. Please take care of my sister. I still have some things to deal with. Sister, Yi Qi's body stiffened. Yun Luo Feng had been in the Yi family for 5 or 6 years, but this was the first time he had acknowledged her as his sister. And this form of address warmed Yi Qi's heart. Knowing that Su Jun did not succeed, Yun Luofeng's heart fell back into his stomach. However, he still had some debts to settle, above the clouds, in the clan gate. Su Jun had been beaten half to death, and the blood in his mouth did not stop. Little Mo could not help but wonder if this guy would die from vomiting blood. Su Jun, I didn't expect you to do such a thing. You dare to defile my master's sister? Lin Ruobai raised his eyebrows and exerted more force. She also heard the words of the disciple of the Sacred Maiden Tribe clearly, and her heart was even angrier. If she didn't beat this bastard to death, she wouldn't be able to dispel the hatred in her heart. The people of the Sacred Maiden Tribe looked at the girl standing on Su Jun's chest and couldn't help but shiver. They didn't expect that the young clan leader, who looked so innocent and cute, would be so ruthless. All the bones in Su Jun's body had been broken by her, but she still didn't give up. She wanted to beat him to death. At this moment, Yun Luo Feng returned. Her silhouette landed in front of Qin Shui. Her evil black eyes were filled with a cold murderous intent. How many people went to Wuhui continent? Who had been torturing Yi Qi recently? Tell them to step forward immediately. Qin Shui's heart skipped a beat. She gritted her teeth and said, Miss Yun, my subordinates and I are indeed at fault. However, this matter should be dealt with by the elders and young clan leader. Could it be that you want to overstep your authority? She understood that if she fell into Yun Luofeng's hands, her life would be worse than death. It was better to accept the punishment of the Sacred Maiden Tribe. Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes slightly, and a dangerous light flashed in her eyes as she laughed silently. You mean that I don't have the right to punish you? Qin Shui's eyes darkened a few times. I only listened to the young clan leader and a few elders. Chapter 1687. Lin Ruobai's face was red with anger as she glared at Qin Shui. She is my master. Her words are my words. You said that I am the young master of the Sacred Maiden Tribe, so you must all listen to my master. Xiao Bai, Yun Luofeng glanced at Lin Ruobai and stopped her. He then turned his gaze to Qin Shui. Now, I will not mention my relationship with Xiao Bai. I am just avenging my sister. I have said before that if she loses one hair, I will kill one person. If she loses 2 hairs, I will kill 2 people until the entire Sacred Maiden Tribe is killed. The elders looked embarrassed but did not dare to say a word. They could only glare at Qin Shui fiercely. Qin Shui, if she wants to punish you, let her punish you. Who made the young master of the tribe become her disciple? Qin Shui was not convinced. Why should she kill one of the Sacred Maiden Tribe just because she loses 1 hair? Yes, I have wronged you, and I am willing to accept punishment. However, the sins of the Sacred Maiden Tribe do not warrant death. At most, you will pay me back for how I treated her these days. What if I insist on killing the Sacred Maiden Tribe? Yun Luofeng, you can't be reasonable. Reasonable? Yun Luofeng laughed. She was amused by Qin Shui. The Sacred Maiden Tribe should have sent someone to investigate my background. I wonder if you have found out about my reputation in the mainland. Yun Luofeng raised his eyes and looked at Qin Shui. When have I ever been reasonable? Who can stop me from killing the person I want to kill? Wasn't that right? Ever since Yun Luofeng came to this world, he had been a spoiled brat. You want to reason with her? Sorry, she has never been a reasonable person. If you step on her, she will chop off your foot. If you hurt her, she will return it 100 times. Revenge for revenge. This had never happened to her before. If you don't tell me who went to the no-return continent to capture Yi Qi, then I will find other ways to make you talk. Yun Luofeng smiled evilly and approached Qin Shui. Qin Shui was horrified and quickly retreated. Yun Luofeng, don't do anything rash. This is the sacred maiden tribe. The few elders wanted to protect Qin Shui's life, but they had only taken 2 steps forward when they heard Lin Ruobai's angry voice. If you 3 old fellows dare to intervene in this matter, even if I die, I will never step into the sacred maiden tribe again. The few elders were startled and subconsciously stopped in their tracks. Compared to Qin Shui's life, Lin Ruobai's return was more important. Qin Shui finally panicked. Why did she dare to treat Yun Luofeng so forcefully? She was certain that the 3 elders would protect her life. Who would have thought that one sentence from Lin Ruobai would cause them to fall silent? No, don't come over. I'll talk. Without the protection of the 3 elders, Qin Shui's nerves collapsed and she hurriedly said. Although she would die if she said anything, she understood that if she didn't say anything, she would be better off dead than alive. Why did she have to suffer pain worse than death for those people? I said, I'll tell you everything, please, don't torture me. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up into a smile. Compared to death, living worse than death was more terrifying. You immediately asked the people who went to the no-return continent to come forward, including the people who tortured Yi Qi these days. Yun Luofeng's gaze slowly turned to milk tea and the beasts. I want these people, not a single one of them will be left alive. It was fine to say that she was cruel or heartless. She just wanted to protect her loved ones. For this, even if she was reviled by the world, she was fearless. What's more, she didn't think that her actions were wrong. She wanted the world to know that those who hurt her loved ones couldn't escape death. Chapter 1688. Qin Shui's body slumped to the ground. Even the maidservant disciples who had participated in this matter had looks of despair. The elder in green's face was pale. He looked up at Yun Luofeng and asked, Miss Yun, these people are our maidservant disciples. I don't know, can you give me some face and give them a quick death? If the elder in green asked Yun Luofeng to let these people go, then Yun Luofeng would never do as he wished. But, what he proposed was to give them a quick death. Yun Luofeng muttered to himself for a moment, I can give them a quick death, but it's not because of you. The elder in green's face stiffened and he sighed heavily. Indeed, they had wanted to kill Yun Luofeng. Why would she give them face? But Yun Luofeng looked up at the elder in green. I will give Xiao Bai's mother face and not let them suffer too much. In any case, the elder in green's goal had been achieved, and he breathed a sigh of relief. Master. Lin Ruobai had tortured them enough. She looked disdainfully at the half-dead Su Jun and turned to walk towards Yun Luofeng. Her arm was hooked around the woman in front of her, and her large eyes were full of grievance. You want to leave me here with the maidservant tribe? Yun Luofeng did not speak. Master, Lin Ruobai was anxious. Her whole body hung on Yun Luofeng, and tears of grievance almost fell down. I don't want anyone but you. I don't want to be with these people who want to bully you. Don't think of leaving me here. Even if she was shameless, she would stay by her master's side and never leave. The 3 elders did not speak. In their view, the maidservant tribe was so powerful that Yun Luofeng could not give up. She would definitely keep Lin Ruobai here. Unexpectedly, after Yun Luofeng heard Lin Ruobai's words, his heart softened. If you don't want to stay, then I can let you leave with me. The reason why she wanted Lin Ruobai to stay with the maidservant tribe was because this was her mother's home. However, she would not force Lin Ruobai to do anything. Lin Ruobai's face curved into a smile, and her eyes were full of light. In comparison, the expressions of the elders were not very good. Perhaps they had not expected that Yun Luofeng would allow Lin Ruobai to leave. It must be known that Yun Luofeng was Lin Ruobai's master, and Lin Ruobai obeyed her. If Lin Ruobai became the Sacred Maiden tribe leader, wouldn't it be equivalent to the Sacred Maiden tribe falling into her hands? How could she refuse such generous terms? Young clan leader, you can't leave. The cyan-robed elder's expression changed. He looked at Yun Luofeng with contempt, but his tone was very respectful. Miss Yun, please help me persuade the young matriarch. The Sacred Maiden tribe cannot be without a leader for a day. She is the daughter of the matriarch, so she should be the leader of the Sacred Maiden tribe. His words were already very clear. If Lin Ruobai stayed in the Sacred Maiden tribe, the Sacred Maiden tribe would be at Lin Ruobai's disposal. As for the small tree, his strength was indeed very strong, causing the three of them to feel a little afraid. But he was a tree ant. The people of the Sacred Maiden tribe were born with the ability to control the tree men. The reason why the tree men obeyed Yun Luofeng's orders was probably because of the young patriarch. Therefore, they did not put Yun Luofeng in their eyes, it was just that this woman's luck was better. She was able to find the young matriarch among all the living beings on the mainland, and she even gained the trust of the young matriarch. Chapter 1689. Lin Ruobai curled her lips. She was no longer the person who had lost her memory. How could she not see the disdain these people had for Yun Luofeng? But, when she was about to get angry, Yun Luofeng pulled her back. Yun Luofeng shook his head and looked up at the three elders. Why do you think that I will be willing to persuade Xiao Bai to stay? The elder in green paused slightly. How could he say what he was thinking in front of the young matriarch? Do you think that I will covet the power of the Sacred Maiden tribe? Yun Luofeng's lips curled up as his eyes swept across the crowd. If Xiao Bai does not want to stay, I will not force her. If she is willing to stay with the Sacred Maiden tribe, I will not stop her. Moreover, Xiao Bai is my disciple. Even if she wants the entire 7 continents, I will take it down and give it to her. The woman's voice was arrogant and ostentatious, and it heavily smashed into the hearts of many people. Fire, take care of everyone involved in the kidnapping and bring Yi Qi to the Jun family. Yun Luofeng slowly turned around and took Lin Ruobai's little hand. Xiao Bai, let's go. Okay. Lin Ruobai smiled brightly, revealing 2 canine teeth. She was innocent and cute. In this life, she was only willing to follow her master to battle on the battlefield, and this Sacred Maiden tribe was not where she belonged. Wait! The 3 elders were anxious and wanted to stop Lin Ruobai, but at this moment, a cold and evil voice came with the wind. Xiao Shu, whoever dares to stop us from leaving will be killed without mercy. Hearing these words, the 3 elders stopped. If they fought to the death, they might be able to defeat Xiao Shu. Coupled with the Sacred Maiden tribe's trump card, they could completely keep Lin Ruobai here. However, in this way, the Sacred Maiden tribe would also suffer a great loss. Was it worth it? The young matriarch was still young, and it would take more than a few years to cultivate. If the Sacred Maiden tribe lost those trump cards, coupled with the 3 of them being injured, they would definitely be taken advantage of by strong enemies and would anger the young matriarch. This was obviously not a good deal. After the 3 elders calculated in their hearts, they no longer stopped Lin Ruobai from leaving. They could only watch as her figure disappeared. Little White, do you regret not choosing to stay with the Sacred Maiden tribe? Above the mountain range, Yun Luofeng stopped and turned to look at the young girl beside him. Lin Ruobai shook his head. If I stay in the Sacred Maiden tribe, I will at most be the tribe leader of the Sacred Maiden tribe. Only by following Master can I explore the wider world. At this moment, Lin Ruobai had made a decision that she would never regret. Actually, if you had stayed, perhaps, you would have been able to find traces of your mother. This was also the reason why Yun Luofeng had hesitated in the beginning. But in the end, she still chose to respect Lin Ruobai's decision. Lin Ruobai revealed a brilliant smile. Master, if it were you, would you join a faction that isn't free in order to find your parents? There were too many rules and regulations in the Sacred Maiden tribe. Just the rule of not marrying was something that Lin Ruobai could not bear. Therefore, if Yun Luofeng were in Lin Ruobai's position, her choice would be no different. I believe that I can find my mother on my own. Lin Ruobai blinked. She looked at little Mo, who had followed her from the mountain, and her smile became even brighter. Besides, I will marry little Mo as my husband. Why should I stay with the Sacred Maiden tribe? Little Mo had just walked to Yun Luofeng's side when he heard Lin Ruobai's words. His handsome face turned red and he glared at Lin Ruobai. Chapter 1690. You're the one who's marrying me, not the other way around. He was a man after all. Lin Ruobai kept saying that he wanted to marry me. Isn't this too embarrassing? Lin Ruobai glared at him and placed his hands on his hips. I don't care. On the day of our wedding, you'll put on a red veil and I'll hold your hand as we consummate our marriage. Master, look at her. Xiao Mo turned towards Yun Luofeng with an aggrieved look and complained pitifully. Yun Luofeng shrugged his shoulders. This is your business. You can discuss it among yourselves. I won't make any comments. If you can't agree to it, you can have a fight on the bed. I'll listen to whoever wins. I'm a man, how could I hit a woman? Besides, why would we have to fight on the bed? Little Mo, who had a puzzled look on his face, suddenly reacted. His handsome face flushed red and he felt as if steam was coming out of his head. Master, you're so bad. However, by the time Xiao Mo had finished speaking, Yun Luofeng had already walked far away. He and Lin Ruobai hurriedly chased after him. The hidden divine mountain. A powerful energy could be felt faintly from the depths of the mountain range. Those with weaker powers would not even be able to lift their feet upon reaching the depths of the mountain. At this moment, in a palace in the hidden divine mountain, a beautiful woman dressed in a long black robe crouched down and carefully observed the handsome, unconscious man in front of her. This man was very handsome. His demonic features made him look like a god from the heavens. One look from him was enough to make a person sink into him. TSK, the woman caressed the man's face with her hand and murmured softly, I haven't seen a man with such looks in many years. If I can spend the rest of my life with him, I won't have any complaints. Speaking of which, she had picked up this man from the depths of the hidden divine mountain. That day, she had seen this man with severe injuries and was unconscious. Perhaps it was because he was lonely, or perhaps it was because he was too beautiful, she had picked him up and brought him back. That way, she would have someone to keep her company for the rest of her life. No, this man's background is unknown. If I want him to stay here forever, I can only use that method. The beautiful woman's eyes darted around and her lips curled into an evil smile. She gently closed her eyes and with a bang, a wave of spiritual energy shot into the man's mind. At this moment, the beautiful woman's face instantly turned pale and large beads of sweat rolled down her face. At this moment, all of the man's memories flashed before the beautiful woman's eyes like flowing water. It turned out that this man was called by Su, and he wasn't from this continent. He had an enemy named Yun Xiao. Even though this Yun Xiao was equally handsome, and was even more handsome than Bai Su, that man was too cold, and always had a poker face. Compared to him, she still preferred a man like Bai Su who was bewitching. Of course, it would be best if he could get both of them. Oh right, Bai Su still had an enemy named Yun Luo Feng. However, as an enemy, she could feel Bai Su's hatred towards Yun Xiao, but she could not feel his anger towards Yun Luo Feng. The beautiful woman was shocked and hurriedly withdrew her spiritual energy. However, as she withdrew her spiritual energy, she did not forget to leave an indelible mark in Bai Su's mind. This mark would allow Bai Su to treat himself as the woman who had left the deepest impression on him. Regardless of whether he loved this woman deeply or not, as long as she had left a deep impression on him, Bai Su would treat himself as that woman and fall deeply in love with her. Chapter 1691. All these years, every man who entered the depths of the hidden God Mountain has had their memories altered by this method. Sadly, those men could not withstand her torture and died within a few years. However, facing this man who was as handsome as a god, she couldn't bring herself to harden her heart and hurt a single hair on his head. Perhaps she has fallen in love with this man. At this moment, Bai Su, who was lying on the bed, slowly opened his eyes. His face was very pale and his breathing was weak. Uncontrollably, the beautiful woman's heart ached. "You're awake." The beautiful woman looked at him worriedly. Her eyes were filled with anxiety. Bai Su froze and hesitantly looked at the beautiful woman standing in front of him. "Yun Luo Feng." The beautiful woman froze. As expected, the person who left the deepest impression in Bai Su's heart was Yun Luo Feng, the person he called his enemy. But, hearing this, the beautiful woman subconsciously sighed in relief. It seemed that her imprint had worked. Bai Su really did think that she was Yun Luo Feng. This was great. This man belonged to her from now on. "That's right, I am Yun Luo Feng," the beautiful woman said shamelessly, "and the woman you love the most. Don't you hate me? Why did you save me?" Back then, when he first met Yun Luo Feng, he wanted to take her in, but there was some friction. Plus, every time they met, this woman never gave him a good look. The beautiful woman's eyes flickered. She smiled and said, "Actually, I don't hate you. On the contrary, I love you very much. But I know that it's impossible between us. That's why I used that method to attract your attention. If this was the Bai Su of the past, he definitely would not be so brainless." However, because of the brand that was engraved in his mind, he could not help but believe the beautiful woman's words without a doubt. Also, the beautiful woman paused and continued, "In the future, don't call me Yun Luo Feng. Just call me Luo Air." Her original name also had the character Luo. Even though she tried to make Bai Su think that she was Yun Luo Feng, it did not mean that she was willing to hear someone else's name from the mouth of the man she loved. "Okay." Bai Su smiled, charming, once again causing Luo'er's heart to skip a beat. "Brother Su, rest well. Once you are healed, I will not reject you no matter what you want." Luo'er lowered her head and said shyly. Bai Su felt like he had been struck by lightning. He had not expected Luo'er to say something so direct. The desire in his heart was aroused. However, due to his injuries, he could only suppress the fire in his heart. Luo'er looked at him shyly again, then turned and walked out the door. The moment she stepped out of the door, her lips curled into a smile and her eyes narrowed. "Any man that I fancy will never be able to escape from my hands," because she didn't need to seduce those men, she just needed them to treat her as their beloved woman. The Black Palace was dark and oppressive. Outside Bai Su's palace, a sneaky figure quietly walked in. Her beautiful face was filled with nervousness. Aside from Luo'er and Bai Su, there was no one else in the palace. Unfortunately, Luo had been staying next to Bai Su for the past few days, so it was not convenient for her to enter. She could only sneak in when Luo'er was out. Jinyu raised her hand and gently pushed the door open. Once she entered, she saw Bai Su, who was resting on the bed. Bai Su thought that it was Luo and looked over lazily. When he saw the beautiful handmaiden who had entered the room, his handsome face sank. Chapter 1692. Jinyu, why are you here? Jinyu's body stiffened. Ever since Bai Su was seriously injured and she offered her body to heal him, Bai Su chased her away. But how could she be at ease with her master? That was why she had been secretly following behind him without him noticing. Master, I'm here to save you. Save me. Bai Su sneered, Luo and I are here to protect each other. Why do I need you to save me? Jinyu panicked, Master, that woman isn't Yun Luo Feng. You've been tricked by her. Bai Su's face darkened, do you think I can't tell if she's Luo or not? Jinyu, I know you've always wanted to be my concubine. Unfortunately, you didn't get what you wanted. That's why you framed Luo. If you don't leave now, don't blame me for being rude. Master, you've changed. Jinyu bit her lips and said, but, I won't leave. The imprint that Luo left in Bai Su's mind not only changed his memory, but also changed Bai Su's personality. In the past, even if Bai Su chased Jinyu away, he would never say such self-righteous words. Bang! Suddenly, the door was pushed open by a hand. Luo appeared at the door with a gloomy face. Bai Su, so you had another woman behind my back. Bai Su panicked and hurriedly climbed up from the bed. He held Luo's hand nervously. Luo, listen to me. I have nothing to do with her. You must believe me. Luo clenched her fist tightly. From Bai Su's memory, she already knew that Jinyu took advantage of Luo's perilous state and had intimate contact with her. That scene replayed before her eyes like a camera. It was also like a needle that ruthlessly stabbed into her heart. Bai Su, you still want to lie to me. Luo's tears fell like rain. Just now, this woman found me and said that she was your wife. You had intimate contact with her a long time ago. She wanted me to leave you, but I didn't agree. Then, she framed me in front of you. She claimed that I'm not Yun Luo Feng. Of course, she could not tell Bai Su that she learned all of this from his memory. Therefore, she used this matter to frame Jinyu. Master, I didn't. Jinyu shook her head. This servant has followed Master for many years and has always listened to Master's orders. How could I do such a thing? It's her, she framed me. Paw. Bai Su raised her hand and slapped Jinyu. Jinyu was stunned. She covered her red cheeks with her hands and looked up at Bai Su with disbelief in her eyes. Master, didn't believe him. Luo glanced at Jinyu proudly and slowly walked to Bai Su. She hooked her arms around his neck and sent her fragrant lips to him. Bai Su didn't resist. Instead, she responded enthusiastically. Jinyu's heart suddenly twitched, and her beautiful eyes were filled with deep pain. She had already prepared herself that sooner or later, her master would have to spend the rest of his life with another woman. However, when she saw this scene, she still felt the pain in her bones. Luo, I did have intimate contact with her, but that was when I wasn't conscious. Now that I have you, I won't touch any other woman. Brother Su, I believe you. Moreover, this girl loves you too much. That's why she said such things in front of me. However, I've always been kind. I can't bear to punish her for this. Why don't you let her go? Luo left Bai Su's embrace. She curled her lips and said sweetly. Bai Su hesitated for a moment and nodded slightly. Okay. To tell the truth, he was extremely unwilling to kill Jinyu. Chapter 1693. After all these years, no matter how much danger he had encountered, Jinyu had always been by his side. Now that Luor had personally asked, why wouldn't he be willing? Brother Su, let me send her out, in case she hides in some corner of the palace and stares at you. Luor raised the corner of her lips and smiled sinisterly. I'll listen to you. Bai Su smiled and rubbed her hair, his evil eyes filled with gentleness. Hearing this, Luor turned and walked to Jinyu, glanced at her and said, follow me. Jinyu froze and looked up at Bai Su. When she saw the disgust in the man's eyes, her heart twitched. She looked at Bai Su sadly and turned to follow Luor out. In the silent palace, Luor stopped. Her expression changed from the gentleness she had when she faced Bai Su to an icy cold expression. Bai Su has an enemy named Yun Xiao. Jinyu bit her lips, that's right. Help me lure that man over. Luor raised her chin slightly, I'm interested in that man. Jinyu's expression changed, what do you want? Isn't it enough that you have a master? Luor sneered. She licked her long red nails, extremely charming. I'm too bored in this palace, I need a few men to accompany me. If it wasn't for the fact that she couldn't leave Hidden God Mountain, she wouldn't need to use this method to relieve her boredom. Will Master allow you to do this? Hee, Luor laughed coldly, your master loves me to death. Even if he feels pain because I have physical contact with another man, he won't leave me. Jinyu clenched her fists tightly, the anger in her heart surging out. Bitch. She gritted her teeth and spat out these two words. Luor's eyes turned cold. With a boom, a force hit Jinyu's chest and sent her flying. Jinyu spat out a mouthful of blood and stared at Luor with fire in her eyes. If you help me with this, I'll allow you to stay in the palace as a maid. Otherwise, not only will I chase you out, I'll even torture Bai Su. Think carefully. Hearing this, Jinyu sneered and stood up from the ground. The relationship between the Ghost Emperor and Yun Luofeng is very deep. I'm afraid it's impossible for you to interfere. Luo'er scoffed at this. You probably know how I made your master fall in love with me. Towards that Yun Xiao, I just need to use the same method. As long as he treats me as Yun Luofeng, how could he not love me to death? Luor slowly walked towards Jinyu. Also, help me kill Yun Luofeng. In this world, one Yun Luofeng is enough. Actually, Luor had not mentioned that there was a flaw in the mark she had placed on Bai Su. That flaw was that he couldn't let him see the true Yun Luofeng. Otherwise, the imprint would be damaged, and he would recall everything. Therefore, Yun Luofeng absolutely could not be left alive. Jinyu was silent. She could leave Bai Su, but it didn't mean that she could watch this woman humiliate Bai Su. Moreover, she believed that Luor would definitely do this to achieve her goal. If it was his former master, if Luo'er dared to hurt him, he would return her 10 times. Unfortunately, he was no longer the master he used to be. Perhaps, even if Luo'er killed him, he wouldn't have any complaints. If I help you, will you let master go? Jinyu bit her lip and asked. Chapter 1694. Luo'er's lips curled into a smile. That smile was determined to win. I never break my promise. I always do what I say. Alright, I'll be back in half a month. I only hope that you can treat master well during this time. Jinyu clenched her fists, took a deep breath, and said. Her life had been saved by her master, so she was destined to live for him in this life. After saying this, Jinyu looked at Luo'er one last time before turning to leave the palace. That beautiful yet frail figure gradually disappeared from Luo'er's eyes. Jun family. Yi Qi's eyes were wide open as she looked around curiously. Yun Luo. She wanted to call Yun Luofeng's name, but she felt that it would be impolite. She swallowed her words and asked, "Second sister-in-law, why did you bring me here?" Yun Luofeng walked in slowly and said softly, "To bring you to see someone. Sister Yun." Just as Yun Luofeng stepped into the Jun family's residence, a smiling figure quickly rushed over and crashed into Yun Luofeng's arms. "Sister Yun, you're finally back. I missed you so much." Jun Linger raised her palm-sized face, her watery eyes filled with a charming smile. To be honest, Yun Luofeng had a good impression of Jun Ling from the first time he saw her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stood up for her when Chao Yuqin humiliated Jun Ling. Are Grandpa and Yun Xiao back?" Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and gently rubbed Jun Ling's head. His lips curled into a smile. Jun Ling shook her head. "Grandpa and brother Yun Xiao are not back yet." "Not back yet?" Yun Luofeng frowned. Could it be that something happened to him? Jun Ling's entire body hung on Yun Luofeng, hooking her arm. Her cute eyes shone with a cunning light. "Sister Yun, if you want to find them, can you bring me along?" Recently, Grandpa was not by her side. She was locked in the Jun family by her father and was not allowed to step out. She was bored to death. That was why she begged Yun Luofeng to bring her along to find Grandpa. Lin Ruobai watched as Jun Ling hugged Yun Luofeng's arm and acted like a spoiled child. She snorted lightly and walked forward. She purposely grabbed Yun Luofeng's other arm and stared at Jun Linger with wide eyes. Jun Linger did not notice Lin Ruobai. Her watery eyes were fixed on Yun Luofeng the whole time. "Sister Yun, I came back to the Jun family this time because I want to keep her here." Yun Luofeng pointed to Yi Qi behind him and said, "I'll send her back to the Wuhui continent the next time I come back." Wuhui continent. Jun Linger's heart skipped a beat. Her spirited eyes finally shifted from Yun Luofeng's face to Yi Qi, and she widened her eyes in curiosity. "Sister Yun, this lady is, her name is Yi Qi." Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. "She's my mother's adopted daughter. The adopted daughter of Sister Yun's mother." In other words, Jun Linger's eyes immediately lit up. She giggled and grabbed Yi Qi's hand. A bright smile appeared on her adorable face. "Big sister Yi Qi, welcome home." "Home?" Yi Qi was stunned. She looked at Yun Luofeng in astonishment. She clearly did not understand what he meant. Without waiting for Yun Luofeng Yi Qi to react, the head of the Jun family, Jun Xian, quickly walked out of the house. When he saw Yun Luofeng, his eyes immediately lit up and he hurried forward. "Fenger, you're back." Chapter 1695. Yun Luofeng nodded. "Yun Xiao is not here yet. I plan to go to the Hidden God Mountain myself." If there had not been an accident, with Yun Xiao's strength, she would not have returned so late. Jun Xian hesitated. If something happened to Master and Yun Xiao, he did not want Yun Luofeng to suffer the same fate. However, Jun Xian also understood that even if he stopped him, Yun Luofeng would still rush in with passion. "All right, then go." After pondering for a while, Jun Xian agreed to Yun Luofeng's words. "Father." Jun Ling pouted pitifully. "I want to go with Sister Yun." Hearing this, Jun Xian glared at Jun Ling. "With your strength, don't drag your sister down. Stay at home and improve your strength." Jun Ling felt wronged. She almost burst into tears. She suddenly missed the days when she traveled the continent with her grandfather. "Uncle, I'm handing Yi Qi over to you. I hope the Jun family will take good care of her." Jun Xian was Grandfather Jun's disciple, but he was more like his own son. So, it was not wrong for Yun Luofeng to call him uncle. This lady's surname is Yi. Jun Xian's eyes widened in surprise as he looked at Yi Qi curiously. Yi Qi's body stiffened when he looked at her, and she felt very uncomfortable. Sister-in-law, I want to go with you, no need. Yun Luofeng shook his head. The Jun family is also your home. They will take care of you if you stay here. Jun Xian, who had been puzzled at first, immediately understood after hearing Yun Luofeng's words. He laughed heartily. So this is my little sister's adopted daughter. Since she has come to our Jun family, we will certainly take good care of her. You can rest assured. Yun Luofeng had said before that Jun Fengling had adopted a son and a daughter, and they had a pair of twins. The twins were only about 5 years old. The woman in front of him must be his sister's adopted daughter. Yi Qi was even more confused. She looked at Yun Luofeng in surprise. I forgot to explain to you. Yun Luofeng noticed the doubt in Yi Qi's eyes and said slowly, Mother is not from the Wuhui continent, but from the 7 continents continent. The old master of the Jun family is your father, and the master of the Jun family is his disciple. Yi Qi was stunned. She could not believe her ears. Her heart was full of excitement, and tears welled up in her eyes. So my adoptive mother also has a maiden family, and I also have a grandfather. That was great. She quickly covered her mouth to prevent herself from crying out loud. Sister Yi Qi, don't feel bad. Jun Ling took out a handkerchief and handed it to Yi Qi. From now on, you're a member of the Jun family. If anyone bullies you, I'll help you beat them up. Yi Qi's shoulders shook slightly. I'm not upset. I'm just happy. My adoptive mother has suffered too much all these years. Her adoptive father passed away very early, and he didn't leave her anything. She was even tricked by the bastards of the Shao family. After giving birth to my brother, she was humiliated and tortured because my brother was a good-for-nothing. She almost lost her life in the forest of no return. If my adoptive father hadn't saved her, maybe my adoptive mother would no longer be in this world. I thought that the hardships would be over, but who knew that my adoptive mother could not bear children, and the Yi family could not tolerate it. If Yun Luofeng had not appeared, Jun Fengling would not have been able to return to the Yi family. Yi Qi's heart ached when she thought of the harm her adoptive mother had suffered all these years. Chapter 1696. But she didn't expect that her adoptive mother also had a family. Moreover, her family was on the 7 continents. From now on, who would dare to look down on her? Jun Xian was also very upset. He didn't expect his sister to suffer so much. What about the Shao family? Where is the Shao family that hurt my sister? Yun Luofeng smiled. Yun Shao destroyed them a long time ago. Good job. Jun Xian's voice was full of vigor. Even if the Shao family was destroyed, he still had the urge to drag them out of hell and beat them up. Yi Qi, the Jun family is my mother's family. You are safer here than with me. Little Mo was a Holy Spirit practitioner. Since Lin Ruobai woke up, his strength had also skyrocketed. He had no problem protecting himself in the hidden divine mountain. But Yi Qi was different. She was too weak, so weak that any spirit beast in the hidden divine mountain could destroy her. So why would she take Yi Qi into danger? Yi Qi was startled. She wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Then, be careful on the road. She couldn't say anything more. However, it was clear that he was concerned for her. Yun Luofeng smiled and slowly turned around. Xiao Mo, Xiao Bai, let's go. After saying this, she didn't look back and walked out. Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng had just walked out of the Jun family when a figure came from behind. She couldn't help but stop. She turned around slightly and her eyes fell on the beautiful maid behind her. This maid was very beautiful, so beautiful that it's seductive. But Yun Luofeng was sure that she didn't know her. You called me? Yun Luofeng pointed at herself and asked. Yes, I'm looking for you. Jin Yu raised her head. Perhaps because she was in a hurry, her hair was a bit messy, but it couldn't hide her stunning beauty. Do we know each other? Yun Luofeng frowned and continued to ask. You don't know me, but you should know. Bai Su. Lin Ruobai and Little Mo immediately went on high alert when they heard Bai Su's name. They surrounded Yun Luofeng from both sides. Who the hell are you? Little Mo's voice was very impolite. What business do you have with my master? Jin Yu pursed her red lips. Suddenly, she knelt in front of Yun Luofeng, her voice filled with pleading. Miss Yun, I'm Bai Su's servant girl. I beg you, please help me and help my master. Yes, this was the final decision made by Jin Yu. She didn't believe Luo. Even if she helped her kill Yun Luofeng and brought Yun Xiao to the palace, she would still treat her mistress well for life. That was why she had chosen to place her hopes on Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng's expression darkened. Bai Su has tried to kill me time and time again. Why should I help him? Miss Yun, I know that only you can help master. Jin Yu looked at Yun Luofeng with pleading eyes. Besides, don't you want to know Yun Xiao's whereabouts? Yun Xiao. These two words were like a heavy hammer that ruthlessly smashed into Yun Luofeng's heart, causing his killing intent to manifest. Are you threatening me? She gently narrowed her eyes and a dangerous light flashed across her eyes. Jin Yu panicked and hurriedly explained. Miss Yun, you've misunderstood. Some time ago, my master and the Ghost Emperor met at the Hidden God Mountain. The two of them fought and both of them were injured. My master was picked up by the master of the Hidden God Mountain. However, the master of the Hidden God Mountain cultivates a special technique that can change other people's memories. She used this method to make master mistake her for you, Miss Yun. Chapter 1697. Yun Luofeng's evil eyes glanced at Jin Yu as he spoke indifferently. Why did you make Bai Su mistake her for me? Jin Yu lowered her head. Master had always wanted to possess Yun Luofeng. He said that Yun Luofeng was talented and could be used by him. However, as someone who understood Master the most, how could she not know that Yun Luofeng was special in Master's heart? Master, she wants to possess Miss Yun. Miss Yun, you know this as well. That's why the master of the Hidden God Mountain made Master mistake her for you. However, she tampered with Master's memory and made Master think that he was deeply in love with Miss Yun. Yun Luofeng raised an eyebrow. What does that have to do with me? It's best if he stays in the Hidden God Mountain for the rest of his life. Anxiety flashed across Jin Yu's eyes. She did not think that Yun Luofeng did not care about someone pretending to be her. Miss Yun, you can't just sit back and do nothing. The master of the Hidden God Mountain learned of the Ghost Emperor's existence from my master's memory and is interested in the Ghost Emperor. She wants to use the same method to possess the Ghost Emperor. She was not lying. Luor's other request was indeed for her to lure the Ghost Emperor to the depths of the Hidden God Mountain. Boom! A monstrous anger surged from Yun Luofeng's body. Her black eyes were filled with murderous intent and her gaze was cold. You're not lying to me. Jin Yu shook her head. Miss Yun, I swear that I'm not lying. If I'm lying, I'm willing to enter the 18 levels of hell and never be reincarnated. I hope so. Yun Luofeng sneered. I'm going to the Hidden God Mountain. Do you mind going with me? Jin Yu raised her head to meet Yun Luofeng's cold black eyes. She shivered. She should not have agreed to go with Yun Luo Feng. Otherwise, if Luo found out, she would definitely hurt Master. But she also understood that if she did not agree, Yun Luo Feng would not help her. Alright, I'll go with you to the Hidden God Mountain. Jean Yu bit her lip. Her beautiful face was filled with determination. For Master, she was willing to risk her life. Master. Lin Ruobai pursed his lips and turned to look at Yun Luo Feng. Do you really believe this woman? Believe her? Yun Luo Feng sneered. How could she trust the people around Baisu? However, she was indeed heading to the Hidden God Mountain to look for Yun Shao, so there was no harm in bringing her along. If she could not find Yun Shao, then she would go to the place where the Master of the Hidden God Mountain was. I'd rather believe her than not. Besides, if she's lying to me, I'll crush her into pieces. Hidden God Mountain. The old man sat in the shade of a tree with a bonfire in front of him. He held a fork in his hand and placed the fire eagle leg on the bonfire to roast. Not long after, a fragrant aroma wafted through the air. On the ground not far from the bonfire, a man in a black robe gently closed his eyes. The sun shone through the treetops and landed on the man's handsome face. He was so handsome that it made people forget to breathe. Suddenly, the man's brows moved slightly, and he slowly opened his eyes under the old man's gaze. The blood on his chest had long since dried up and turned brown. His black eyes were as cold as an eagle's and his face was expressionless. You're awake. The old man chuckled. I didn't think that after this old man had fallen into this trap, I would actually meet a human who had fallen into the same trap. I wonder if the mainland has been shaken after my disappearance for so many days. Unfortunately, I've been here for so long and I still haven't found the person I'm looking for. Right, young man, what's your name? Chapter 1698. Yun Zhao's expression was grim. After his black eyes shifted from the elderly man, he sized up their current surroundings. You don't have to look anymore. We're at the bottom of a well. However, when I fell into this well, I didn't expect that there would be a whole new world here. The elderly man grinned as he handed the roasted eagle in his hand to Yun Shao. However, there's no other way for you to leave this place. I've been here for a few months. Yun Shao glanced at the roasted eagle leg that the elderly man had handed over and remained unmoved. His eyes carried a coldness that kept people at arm's length and his handsome face was still expressionless. Perhaps it was because he had not seen anyone for a long time, but when the elderly man saw Yun Zhao's unfeeling behavior, he was not enraged. He kept the roasted eagle and took a bite. His brows unconsciously furrowed. There's no seasoning at the bottom of this well, it makes my food taste tasteless. At their realm, they could treat the spiritual energy of heaven and earth as food and did not need to consume food. However, to the elderly man, not eating for a day would make him feel uncomfortable all over. Yun Zhao's gaze finally fell on the fire eagle leg in the elderly man's hand. He asked grimly, where did the fire eagle come from? TSK, of course I fought it down. The elderly man laughed. Wasn't this obvious? Yun Shao fell silent. He raised his head and stared at the misty sky above his head. The originally azure sky was now shrouded by a layer of gray fog. It was gloomy and gloomy, as if there was a powerful existence in the sky guarding this dried-up well. Master, a small head popped out from behind Yun Shao. It shook its plump body and slowly climbed down. The elderly man saw this little worm that was even more beautiful than a crystal at first glance, and a look of astonishment flashed across his eyes. He did not know if it was his illusion, but he felt that this little worm's abilities were not simple. A way to leave. Yun Shao lowered his gaze to look at the little worm. His low voice was magnetic. Luckily, Little Worm was not a female dragon, otherwise, its ears would be pregnant. Master, you can enter the bottom of this well, but you can't leave. The one guarding the bottom of this well is a relatively powerful spiritual beast, and any human that falls into this well will become its food. The little worm had lived in the Hidden God Mountain for so many years after all, so it was very familiar with the Hidden God Mountain. It hasn't eaten you guys yet because it's not hungry yet. If it were hungry, I'm afraid. Yun Xiao and the elderly man already knew what little worm was going to say without needing it to continue. Yun Xiao's expression did not change. Lead the way. Lead the way. The old man looked at Yun Xiao strangely, not understanding what he meant. However, Yun Xiao's personality was rather cold and callous. Even his words were short and concise. If he could omit a word, he definitely wouldn't say a word more. Little worm chuckled, you found out. That's right, when I came to the Hidden God Mountain, I also accidentally fell into this trap and saw the spiritual beast guarding the well. To be honest, even when I was at my peak, I was no match for this spiritual beast. After being locked up for so many years, Little Worm's strength had dropped significantly. But how powerful was it when it was at its peak? But even then, it was no match for this spiritual beast. From this, it could be seen how powerful this spiritual beast was. When the elderly man heard this, his eyes immediately lit up. Since this little worm had once mistakenly fallen into this trap and was still alive and well, did this prove that it had a way to leave? The elderly man was not wrong, Little Worm indeed had a way to leave, but that way. Chapter 1699. Master, follow me later, I'll lead the way for you. If you go the wrong way, you'll be sent to another place. Little Worm's voice was serious. It had experienced this and naturally knew how dangerous this path was. If it was not careful, it would be sent to another unknown world. Let's go. Yun Zhao's expression was grim as he ordered in a cold voice. Little Worm twisted its plump body, turned around and swam forward. The elderly man hurriedly threw down the fire eagle leg in his hand and hurriedly followed behind Yun Xiao. Young man, I haven't asked for your name. That's right, my surname is June. You. Before the elderly man could finish his sentence, a cloud of fog shrouded them in front of them, instantly obscuring his vision. However, in this hazy white fog, Little Worm's figure was exceptionally clear, like a lamp illuminating the darkness, leading them forward. However, compared to Little Worm's composure, Yun Xiao and the elderly man were not as calm. Before them, familiar faces appeared one by one. Those faces were leading them to another path. Yun Xiao gently closed his eyes, forcing the images to disappear from his sight. However, when he opened his eyes again, the images were still there. It's not an illusion. In the beginning, he had thought that this was just an illusion. If he blocked his senses, the illusion would disappear. But he did it anyway. Those images still affected his path forward. It was as if these were all real people. Suddenly, Yun Zhao's gaze fixed onto a young and tender face, and she was unable to move her gaze away. It was a little girl about 8 years old. Her features were somewhat similar to Yun Luofeng, but she was wearing clothes that did not belong to this mainland. Recalling that Yun Luofeng was not from this mainland and what Little Worm had said earlier, Yun Zhao's heart skipped a beat. It was as if a hand was pulling him towards the little girl. Xiao Feng, you know that it's not that uncle doesn't want to raise you, but I really don't have the heart. However, uncle has already found a good place for you to go. In that orphanage, you'll have many companions. In the luxurious living room of the villa, the man in a suit had a sorrowful expression, looking helpless. Standing in front of him was a little girl who looked like she was carved out of jade. Her delicate little face was full of tears, and she looked very helpless. At this moment, Yun Xiao was standing quietly by the little girl's side. His eyes were fixed upon her tear-stained little face. His heart ached fiercely and he stretched out his hand to stroke her head. However, his hand passed through the little girl's body as if he was just an uninvited guest in this world. Yun Xiao was stunned and he stared blankly at his own hand. After a long while, he once again looked at the little girl beside him. "Uncle, Auntie," the little girl pleaded. "I don't want to go to the orphanage. Please don't send me away." Hearing this, the beautiful woman who was painting her nails frowned impatiently. She looked at the little girl coldly and said, "Our Yun family doesn't raise idlers, and it's even more impossible for us to provide for you. Your uncle is willing to send you to the orphanage. Otherwise, I will ask your uncle to sell you immediately." The beautiful woman had thought that these words would definitely scare the little girl. Who knew that these words would completely enrage the little girl? "After my parents passed away, they left me a large sum of money. When you inherited the money, you promised to raise me. How long has it been? You're just going to kick me away. Are you not afraid of public opinion?" Chapter 1700. The beautiful woman sneered, "Haven't you heard of the saying, 'Money makes the world go round'? However, this is also thanks to your parents. They left us a large sum of money, giving us the opportunity to make the world go round. Don't worry, after we send you to the orphanage, I will find someone to write a report, saying that you are unreasonable, and even hate your cousin. If we didn't come back in time, your cousin would have died in your hands. As for that money, I will say that it has been donated to society. As for whether it was really donated, who knows?" The little girl's shoulders shook incessantly, not knowing whether it was because she was angry or sad. "Oh right." The beautiful woman's eyes moved a few times, slightly curling the corner of her lips. "Let me tell you something. Do you know how mother miscarried when she was pregnant with her second child? It was because of me and your uncle. Otherwise, if she had a son, their inheritance would not belong to us in the future. However, I never thought that they would die so early. It's really good that they died." The little girl's eyes widened, her eyes were blood red. Suddenly, she fiercely rushed towards the beautiful woman, opened her small mouth and bit the beautiful woman's arm. "Ah!" The beautiful woman felt the pain, casually pushed the little girl away. Her head hit the corner of the table, blood flowed down. But she did not cry anymore. A pair of eyes full of hatred stared at the beautiful woman. "Enough." The man slammed the table and said in a stern voice, "No matter what, our Yun family has raised you for a few years. Is this how you treat your aunt? Moreover, your father is my older brother. What's wrong with me inheriting his inheritance? If you want to blame someone, blame your father. He doesn't have a son, yet he refuses to give all his money to his nephew. He insists that all his things belong to his daughter. What's the use of giving the company and money to my daughter? In the end, it will still be given to an outsider. It's better to give it to my nephew than to an outsider. At least my nephew is family." The man coldly looked at the little girl's eyes filled with anger and hatred. He sneered disdainfully. He did not think that he was wrong. A daughter's child has to follow someone else's surname. On the contrary, his son is different. He is a true family member. He had never heard of giving money to outsiders instead of their own people. The little girl bit her lower lip tightly. Blood flowed into her mouth, but she was completely unaware. Her resentful eyes were like daggers as she stared at the adulterous couple. The murderous intent on Yun Zhao's body could no longer be concealed as it surged out. He clenched his fists tightly as his grim eyes filled with murderous intent. However, no matter how angry he was, the two of them were in different space-time. Even the time was different. So what if he was angry? No wonder. So it turned out that she was so decisive and sentimental because of what had happened in the past. Just as Yun Zhao's heart was throbbing in pain, the scene in front of her changed. It turned into a street where countless people were pointing at the little girl. Did you guys see yesterday's report? It's this little girl named Yun Luo Feng. She actually wanted to murder her cousin because she was jealous of her aunt and uncle's love for him. TSK, she's so vicious and merciless at such a young age. When she grows up, she'll definitely become a murderer. This kind of person should be thrown in jail. She shouldn't be let off just because she's young. I also heard that after her aunt and uncle inherited her parents' assets, they set up a separate account and put all the money in her name. They plan to give it to her when she's of age. Unfortunately, they didn't think that she would be so vicious. In a fit of anger, her aunt and uncle donated all the money. Serves her right, that money shouldn't have been given to her. Besides, there's an orphanage that's willing to take in someone like her. Aren't they afraid that she'll set fire to the orphanage? Chapter 1701. Under the scornful and mocking gazes of those people, the little girl stood quietly in the middle of the street. Her pale little face looked exceptionally helpless and her tiny figure made one's heart ache for her. Yun Zhao's heart was in so much pain that he could not extricate himself. He quickly walked towards the little girl. Even if she could not see him, he wanted to be by her side. That was good enough. Master, come back quickly. Just at this moment, an angry voice rang out in Yun Zhao's mind. In that instant, the image in front of him suddenly shattered and turned pitch black. By the time he regained his senses, he saw the little worm glaring at him with a face full of rage. Didn't I say that you can't wander around? If I hadn't sensed it in time, you would have been left in that place forever. Yun Zhao's expression gradually returned to normal. He thought for a moment and said, "Illusory reality." Illusory reality could sense the most primitive thoughts in one's heart. And he, ever since Yun Luo Feng told him that he did not belong to this world and described his past to him, he had always wanted to understand his past. That was why he had returned to Yun Luo Feng's past. But this illusory reality was also very dangerous. Most people who entered it would be left in this illusion and never be able to come out. Like a wisp of a ghost, living in that world. Master, what did you see just now? Little Worm looked at Yun Zhao in confusion. He had also sensed Yun Zhao's murderous intent and realized that he had fallen into an illusory reality. He wondered what his master had seen to make him so angry. If there is a place that does not belong to this time and space, can I go to that place? Those people had hurt his Fengers so much, how could he let them off? Should be possible. Little Worm thought for a moment and said, as long as this time and space really exist, there should be a way to go there. As for what the way is, I don't know. What if I want to go back to someone's past? The future cannot be changed. So, you can go to that time and space but not the past. In other words, he could find the way to Huaxia in the future, but he could not go back to Yun Luo Feng's past. Indeed. If he changed the past, he might not be able to meet Yun Luo Feng. It doesn't matter if I can't go back to the past. I just need to kill those people and that's enough. Yun Zhao smiled. This was the first time Yun Zhao had smiled since Yun Luo Feng was no longer by his side. But, on the other hand, the little worm felt a cold murderous aura, causing its plump body to shiver uncontrollably. He didn't know who had offended his master, but it seemed like he was finished. Young man, wait for this old man. The old man then walked out. He chuckled and said, little guy, thank you for helping me just now. When Little Worm sensed that Yun Zhao had fallen into the illusory reality, he also noticed the elderly man. Of course, it was not so gentle towards this old man. It directly slapped him awake. Thinking of this, Little Worm could not help but twitch its mouth. It really did not know why these humans were so easily trapped in illusions. Could it be that humans had too many emotions and desires? In reality, ever since Yun Xiao had seen the smaller Yun Luofeng appear, he had already sensed it in his heart. However, in order to understand Yun Luofeng's past, he was willing to risk his life to find out what had happened to her in the past. Now that he knew about it, he felt even worse. It was as if he had been stabbed by a knife, and it was extremely painful. Chapter 1702. Who has the audacity to barge into the depths of Mount Hidden God? Just at this moment, a cold snort suddenly rang out, instantly falling into everyone's ears. Then, a woman dressed in a long black dress descended from the sky. Her expression was icy and the aura from her body was extremely murderous. When the woman turned her gaze towards the people in front of her, her expression suddenly froze. Her beautiful eyes stared at Yun Xiao and her face was filled with joy. "It's you. That girl, Jin Yu, has indeed kept her word and lured you here." Yun Xiao frowned slightly. He did not have a good impression of the woman in front of him. "Tsk tisk," Little Worm snickered. "Master, where did you get this rotten peach blossom from? Be careful, mistress might get angry." Yun Xiao's expression turned colder. "I've never seen her before. You don't know me now, but you will in a while." The woman bowed her head and smiled charmingly. "My name is Qin Luo, you can call me Luoer. Also, very soon, I will be your wife." As soon as she said this, a murderous aura rose from Yun Xiao's body and a murderous intent flashed in her cold and emotionless eyes. Qin Luo licked the corner of his lips and a determined look flashed across his slightly narrowed eyes. These few days, she and Bai Su had been making love in bed. Don't be fooled by Bai Su's demonic charm, and she liked him very much. In reality, she was not satisfied with his abilities in bed. What she wanted was to stay in bed day and night. Who knew that Bai Su could only do it 5 times a night? Only 5 times, how could she be satisfied? So, she turned her gaze towards the extremely handsome Yun Xiao, who had an excellent figure. If it was this man, perhaps he would be able to make her hover between life and death in bed. In reality, it was not that Bai Su was not powerful, but Qin Luo had been empty for many years. How could one Bai Su alone be enough to satisfy her? No matter how powerful a man was, he would not be able to withstand her torment day and night. "Do you want to die?" Yun Xiao merely spat out these few words coldly. Qin Luo smiled enchantingly. "No matter how you reject me now, in a while, you will love me, hover between life and death, and you will only want me." Little Worm's eyes widened in shock. Even the old man beside Yun Xiao looked at the woman in black in astonishment. He had lived for so many years and seen so many different kinds of people, but he had never seen anyone who could be so shameless. Yun Xiao could not wait to kill her, yet she still said that the other party would love her to death. This was so shameless that it left others in the dust. The old man shook his head and sighed. He felt that he had lived for so many years in vain. Boom! Murderous intent surged from Yun Xiao's body as a powerful force instantly pressed towards Qin Luo. Qin Luo smiled, and his mental energy rumbled out, heading towards Yun Xiao's mind. "From now on, I'm the woman you love." Qin Luo raised his head arrogantly, a confident smile on his lips. No man could escape from her forbidden technique. Even the man in front of her couldn't do it, really. The corners of Yun Xiao's lips curled up into a cold smile. In the meantime, with a loud bang, a powerful force pierced through the black-robed woman's mental energy and into her mind, causing her to stumble back. She raised her head in disbelief as her beautiful eyes stared fixedly at Yun Xiao. "Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Why is my forbidden technique useless against you?" Her face was deathly pale and her lips trembled. For decades, many men had entered this place by mistake, but until now, no one had been able to escape her imprisonment. Chapter 1703. Yun Xiao coldly walked towards Qin Luo. His eyes were filled with murderous intent and his entire body emitted a piercingly cold aura. At this moment, Yun Xiao was undoubtedly terrifying. He was like a god of death who had walked out from a pool of fresh blood, causing one to shudder. Qin Luo quickly recovered. She burst into laughter as her lips curled into a mocking smile. Interesting, this is too interesting. To think that there would be someone in this world with such powerful mental strength that he could resist my temptation. However, Qin Yu's smile grew even wider. This way, I'm even more interested in you. She licked her sexy red lips as her beautiful eyes narrowed slightly with a lustful light. In the beginning, she had preferred Bai Su's devilish face. But now, she felt that she was more interested in this man. Bai Su was too easy to obtain. On the contrary, only a man like this who could resist her forbidden technique could easily provoke her desire to conquer him. TSK, this is the first time this old man has seen a woman like this. The old man, who had been silent all this while, could not help but sneer when he heard Qin Luo's words. His voice carried a hint of mockery. Qin Luo's expression changed. She glared sharply at the old man and spat out a few words coldly. You have a death wish. If this old man was a few decades younger, perhaps she would have been interested. However, he was already so old and he actually dared to appear in front of her. Anyone who came to the hidden god mountain would either die in her hands or be snatched back by her to be her husband. It was obvious that this old man was the former. This old man indeed has a death wish. I'm not as good as you. Since you failed to seduce a man, you tried to snatch him by force. The old man shook his head. He felt that he had truly broadened his horizons today. This was the first time he had seen a woman like this. You're courting death. Qin Luo was enraged. The aura from her entire body surged violently and swept towards the old man like a tidal wave. Her eyes were filled with viciousness. Yun Xiao frowned and waved his sleeves. An aura that did not lose to Qin Luo's clashed with his. With a loud bang, the two auras stirred up a shockwave that instantly flattened the surrounding trees. Qin Luo's expression changed. She raised her head to look at Yun Xiao's cold expression and asked word by word, You really don't want to obey me? Yes. The man said coldly and concisely. Qin Luo sneered, What a pity, what a pity. You might not know this, but I've already sent people to find the woman you love. Maybe her soul has already returned to the underworld, ha ha ha. Yun Xiao's expression did not change but one could clearly feel that his aura was gradually becoming unstable. Qin Luo could clearly sense the rage in Yun Xiao's heart and he raised the corners of his lips in a provocative manner. If you obediently obey me, I will return your fiancé to you. Otherwise, I will immediately send an order to my people and have them grind Yun Luofeng's bones to dust. Yun Xiao's pupils contracted slightly as the aura on his body grew more and more domineering. His voice was cold and murderous, If she dies, you'll accompany her in death. Upon hearing this, Qin Luo froze for a moment. He didn't expect him to be so impervious to threats. Do I really have to kill this man? Wasn't that too much of a waste? She had been lonely for so many years and finally found such a man. However, before Qin Luo could think of a way to deal with Yun Xiao, the man's figure was already right in front of him. His palm was like lightning and his body was like a gust of wind as he landed on Qin Luo's chest with a loud bang. Qin Luo's eyes narrowed slightly and he took 2 steps back. His eyes carried a sense of vigilance. Chapter 1704. Boom! The 2 palms collided and the earth shook. In an instant, even the sky was shrouded in a layer of smoke, losing its original appearance. The old man sat down and took out the fire eagle leg that he had hidden earlier. He watched the two of them fight while enjoying the delicious food. Seems like it's still lacking something. The old man frowned slightly, then moved away. He took out a teacup from his spatial ring, poured tea leaves into it, and filled it with water. As the temperature of his palm rose, the tea began to boil as well. This is the tea that Yun girl gave me when she left the June family. I think it's called spirit tea. It tastes pretty good. The only thing lacking is that we don't have hot water right now, so we can only use this method to brew tea. Watching a show, how could he skip tea when there was food to eat? Grandpa June chuckled. Of course, if his old friend was here, it would be good for them to have a cup of tea. This kid's strength is not bad. At such a young age, his strength is already surpassing mine. Yun girl really has good eyes. In fact, Grandpa June had recognized Yun Xiao from the beginning. He could also see that this man was cold. Before he knew if Yun Luofeng had told Yun Xiao everything, he would not hastily acknowledge him. Otherwise, what if she thought he had other intentions? Because of this, Grandpa June snorted at Qin Luo's actions. Trying to steal a man from Yun girl. Did she take care of herself? And trying to pretend to be Yun girl. Did she think everyone was blind? Actually, this was also because Yun Xiao was a man. If Yun Luofeng was in danger, Grandpa June would have fought with this woman. Why would he sit back and watch the show? As for Qin Luo's claim that he had already sent people to deal with Yun Luofeng, he did not believe it. If Yun Luofeng had really died by her hands, she would not have such an expression and tone. Moreover, if this woman had personally gone, he would have been a little worried. However, he had only sent his subordinates. How could they be a match for Yun girl? Bang! Qin Luo raised his hand and shot out a ray of light. Coincidentally, this ray of light hit the teacup in Grandpa June's hand. In an instant, the freshly brewed tea broke apart and fell into Grandpa June's hand. Grandpa June's face immediately darkened. Of course, it wasn't because he was scalded, but because his heart ached for these tea leaves. That was what Yun Luofeng had given him, and he had only given him a total of 8 taels of silver. He shouted, "That's pretty much all I have left today." In the end, and this damned woman spilled it. The old man was furious. He stood up from the ground and angrily walked towards Yun Xiao and Yun Ruoyan. "Kid, get lost. Let me handle it." Yun Xiao's injuries had yet to recover, so he naturally appeared to be rather powerless. Even so, Qin Luo was still not his match. Because of this, the old man, who had seen through Yun Xiao's strength from the very beginning, was very assured that he would fight his opponent. It was just that he didn't expect Qin Luo to spill his tea. This was equivalent to taking his life. "Old beggar, I have no interest in you, and I don't want to kill you for the time being. Get lost." Qin Luo was very angry, her chest was heaving up and down, her beautiful eyes stared at Grandpa June. Old beggar. Grandpa June looked at himself. Indeed, ever since he had fallen into that trap, he had not been able to take a proper bath. His white robes were already covered in dust and his white hair was in a mess. Didn't he look exactly like a beggar? Little girl, don't look down on others. This old man has been hiding his strength for so many years. I'm afraid that I will have to reveal it here. Chapter 1705. Grandpa June snorted, and a sharp aura erupted from his body. Yun Xiao looked at Grandpa June, and quickly retracted her gaze, not saying a word. Half step into the void realm. Qin Luo's expression changed slightly. There was actually a half step into the void realm expert in this continent. Grandpa June said coldly, "A few years ago, I broke through to the half-step into the void realm, but because of some restrictions, I did not dare to reveal my strength. Fortunately, this is the hidden God mountain, I naturally have nothing to fear." After the sage, there was an even more powerful strength. One of them was the half-step into the void realm, which was equivalent to stepping into the void. Only those who truly stepped into the void were worthy of being called gods. Even so, in this continent that lacked cultivation resources, Qin Luo never thought that there would actually be someone who broke through to the half-step into the void realm. "Old man, I don't know what you're so arrogant about breaking through to the half-step into the void realm. If I wasn't locked up in this place, and my strength was restricted, I would have killed you long ago." Qin Luo quickly regained her composure, and arrogantly raised her chin, looking down at Grandpa June with disdain. Grandpa June chuckled, "Half-step into the void realm is not worthy of being arrogant, it's enough to deal with you." Qin Luo's expression suddenly darkened. She was able to last so long in Yun Zhao's hands because Yun Zhao's injuries had not recovered. However, the old man in front of her was not so easy to deal with. Could it be that she really wanted to use that method? Qin Luo bit her lips tightly, and muttered to herself. At this moment, a strong pressure quickly came, causing Qin Luo's expression to change again. She hurriedly turned her head, and looked at Yun Zhao's cold eyes. "Although the old man is half-step into the void realm, and I have an 80% chance of escaping from him, there's still the Ghost Emperor next to him. If he stops me, then I only have a 40% chance. More importantly, am I really willing to let this Yun Zhao go?" Qin Luo's eyes flickered, and she finally made up her mind. She raised her head, and her beautiful face was cold. "Fortunately, when the Qin family locked me up, they gave me a life-saving method, which allowed me to temporarily increase my strength." After saying this, a gust of wind rose around Qin Luo, and her hair fluttered in the wind. The little worm rubbed its big eyes and stared in shock at Qin Luo, whose power was increasing rapidly. Its voice was filled with terror. "Master, quick, run, this woman is from that place." Yun Zhao did not move. On the other hand, the old man was like a monk scratching his head in confusion. What's going on? Why did her power suddenly become so terrifying? Indeed, Qin Luo's aura was terrifying. Even the experienced old man felt a chill run down his spine. Even though Yun Zhao did not move, a sense of caution appeared in his black eyes. "Ghost Emperor, you are my man." Qin Luo laughed sinisterly. "Originally, I only wanted the two of us to be in love. That way, it would be easier on the bed. But now, I can only forcefully take you, ha ha ha." For a woman to say such shameless words, she was still very proud. But, just as she finished speaking, an evil laugh rang out from nowhere. "When did my husband become your man?" In the sky, the woman was dressed in white. She was extremely beautiful, and her grace was outstanding. A demonic smile hung on her face, and her figure slowly landed in front of Yun Zhao. Chapter 1706. Ever since she had appeared, Yun Zhao's gaze had never left her. It was as if nothing in the world could compare to her. "You're here." After a long while, the man's thin lips parted and he gently spat out these words. "Yes, I've come to find you." Yun Luofeng curled the corners of her lips and her dark eyes filled with a smile. She was not afraid of Qin Luo at all. Yes, as long as he was by her side, would there be any difficulties that they couldn't handle? Qin Luo's expression was very ugly. "Yun Luofeng, why are you here? Did that woman, Jin Yu, fail? She couldn't kill you." Yun Luofeng's eyes narrowed slightly and the smile on her lips was cold. "I heard that you want to steal my husband." Qin Luo scoffed. "So what? Is that so?" Yun Luofeng shrugged. "Then you might suffer a double loss. Qin Luo's expression was gloomy. What do you mean? What I mean is already very clear. Jin Yu went to your palace to find Bai Su. If you return late, Bai Su might be taken away by her. Hearing this, Qin Luo laughed mockingly. Bai Su loves me to death. She won't leave me. Yun Luo Feng shook her head. I brought poison to Jin Yu that can make Bai Su fall into a coma. So, taking him away will be easy. This was what she had discussed with Jin Yu. She would give Jin Yu the poison to take Bai Su away, and she would use this matter to lure Qin Luo over. As for whether she could take Bai Su away before Qin Luo returned, that would depend on Jin Yu's own strength. Sure enough, after hearing Yun Luofeng's words, Qin Luo's expression instantly darkened. She seemed to be filled with anger. Unfortunately, this anger did not last long before it was suppressed by her. If Bai Su leaves, I can still capture him. If the Ghost Emperor leaves, I'm afraid that it will be very difficult for me to capture her again. Qin Luo laughed coldly and raised her chin slightly as she spoke arrogantly. Furthermore, you must die. Yes. If Yun Luo Feng had not been here, perhaps she would have immediately abandoned Yun Shao to capture Bai Su. However, because of Yun Luo Feng, she must stay here and kill him. Yun Luofeng's eyes darkened. He walked to Yun Zhao's side and asked in a low voice, "How confident are you?" Yun Shao looked at Qin Luo silently and said in a low voice, 5 points. But Yun Shao thought for a moment, then continued, she used a secret technique to raise her strength, so there should be a time limit. When the time comes, I'm very confident. Previously, Qin Luo wasn't Yun Zhao's match at all. If Yun Shao hadn't been injured, killing her would have been a piece of cake. Yun Luo Feng turned his gaze to Little Worm. Little Worm shuddered all over and took 2 steps back timidly. He said weakly, "Don't look at me, I can't beat her. You are the ancestor of the dragon race. Is this useless?" Yun Luo Feng raised an eyebrow. "If that's the case, I might as well roast you and eat you." The little worm looked at Yun Luo Feng in horror. Was this woman a demon? "No, I'm useful, I'm definitely useful." "Useful to you? Then why would you let Yun Shao get hurt?" Yun Luo Feng sneered. It was understandable that Little Worm could not defeat this woman, but what about before? With him around, Yun Shao could actually fight Bai Su to the point where both sides were injured. Little Worm had wanted to defend himself but was suddenly at a loss for words. Yes, he was indeed useless. He had actually injured his master, but who asked him to be so cowardly? He didn't dare to fight anyone at all. I'll give you 15 minutes to think of a way to deal with this woman. Don't be in a hurry to reject me, I know you definitely have a way. Yun Shao and I will delay her for 15 minutes. If you can't do it, then you're useless. We might as well roast you and eat you. Chapter 1707. The little worm's expression changed on the spot, its eyes filled with fear. The woman in front of it was clearly not trying to scare it. If it really couldn't think of a way, she would really roast it and eat it. Yun Luo Feng ignored the little worm and turned her gaze to Qin Luo. At this moment, she no longer hid her strength and released all of her subordinates, Fire, Small Tree, TT, and Xiao Mo, Yun Yi, the Skeleton Corps, the gold-seeking mice clan. Qin Luo was enraged when he saw the Skeleton Corps. He glared at Yun Luo Feng. So it was you who stole my Skeleton Corps. Yun Luofeng's eyebrows twitched unconsciously. So this Skeleton Corps was Qin Luo's, humph. Qin Luo snorted, her beautiful eyes filled with anger. But since you've released all of your subordinates, I won't leave a single one of them behind. As soon as Qin Luo's words fell, lightning flashed and thunder roared. The wind blew and the clouds surged. Her hair danced wildly in the wind, her beautiful face contorted in anger. "TSK, crazy girl, I didn't think that we would meet again at a time like this." "Not bad, not bad." Grandpa June chuckled twice and looked at Qin Luo with a solemn expression. He was thinking about a problem. If he could hold Qin Luo back, Yun Girl and the Ghost Emperor would have some hope of escaping. Moreover, he could see that as long as they escaped from the hidden God Mountain, no matter how strong this woman was, she would not be able to do anything to them. Yun Luofeng looked at Grandpa June in surprise when he heard this. "Why are you here?" Grandpa June had been pretending to be an immortal, but when he heard Yun Luofeng's words, he almost stumbled and fell to the ground. He looked at Yun Luofeng with a face full of resentment. "Yun Girl, you didn't even notice my existence." In any case, he was still a living person and he was standing right beside Yun Xiao. How could this lass not notice him? How low was his sense of existence? Yun Luofeng rubbed his nose, a bright smile on his face. "Sorry, wherever Yun Xiao appears, I can only see him. If you hadn't spoken, I wouldn't have noticed your existence." At this moment, Grandpa June's expression was one of grievance. It was likely that he had the urge to bang his head against the wall. Yun Xiao coldly looked at Grandpa June. From their conversation, he had already guessed Grandpa June's identity. Who would have thought that this old man was her cheap grandfather? "Yun Luofeng, don't think that I don't know that you're deliberately stalling for time." Qin Luo snorted coldly, the aura on his body becoming more and more intense. "Unfortunately, I won't give you that chance." Yun Luofeng shrugged and turned to Qin Luo in surprise. "Looks like you're not that stupid after all, humph." Qin Luo snorted, and a strong pressure pressed over. A smug smile appeared on her face. "Yun Xiao." Yun Luofeng took a deep breath. If he couldn't stall for time, then he could only go head-on. Whoosh! Yun Xiao's figure was akin to a hawk, his speed astonishingly swift. In no time at all, he had already arrived beside Qin Luo. In the meantime, the beasts also began to move. Huo Huo transformed into a fiery red fox, his body burning with raging flames. Wherever he passed, the ground was scorched, and the air was filled with a strong burnt smell. TT opened its bloody mouth and charged ferociously towards Qin Luo. Before it could bite Qin Luo's thigh, it was sent flying by Qin Luo's palm. But it did not stop moving, and continued to charge towards Qin Luo. Chapter 1708. Under the leadership of Milk Tea and the Rat Empress, the Golden-Seeking Rat Clan also interfered with Qin Luo. However, the Golden-Seeking Rat Clan was not very strong. This kind of interference was not very effective. It could only delay for a little bit of time. The immortality of the skeleton core was something that Qin Luo had spent many years of hard work on. One could imagine how powerful it was. Even though the current skeleton core was only at the Saint Monarch realm, it was precisely because of their immortality that Qin Luo had suffered quite a bit. Of course, the most powerful one was none other than the little tree. Ever since he had absorbed the memories, his strength had increased by quite a bit. However, it would not be so easy to restore his former glory. He could only gradually increase his strength. However, those waving vines seemed to have a life of their own. Not only would they take the initiative to attack, they would also dodge Qin Luo's skills. As a result, they interfered with Qin Luo's movements, allowing Yun Zhao's attack to land on her body. However, the current Qin Luo was not the same as before. This kind of attack could not cause much damage to her. Qin Luo secretly gritted her teeth. She was very angry in her heart. If not for the fact that the Qin family had restricted her freedom and sealed her strength, she would not have been so passive. If she had the strength from before, she would have been able to instantly kill these people. Thinking of this, Qin Luo's eyes flickered a few times as his gaze landed on Yun Luofeng's face. The reason why he was in such a passive state was all because of this woman. She could let go of the people here, but she had to die. Scram! Qin Luo waved his palm away from the fire's attack and took the opportunity to rush towards Yun Luofeng. However, before she could reach Yun Luofeng, she was once again blocked by Yun Shao. The man in front of him was as cold as a god of death. It was also terrifying. Qin Luo's heart trembled, but he was even more unwilling. Ghost Emperor. You'd better not go against me. Otherwise, don't blame me for not showing mercy to the fairer sex. Qin Luo did not feel that it was wrong to use the word pity on a man. In the eyes of the world, women were men's accessories, but in her eyes, men were just women's toys. Yun Shao was a man of few words, he did not even spare a single word for her. Furthermore, she did not even exist in his cold, dark eyes. Qin Luo was incomparably furious. His palm was wrapped in a layer of spirit energy as he struck towards Yun Zhao's chest. Watching this battle, Yun Luofeng's heart gradually sank. She kept thinking about how she could get out of this predicament. Although Qin Luo's secret technique had a time limit, perhaps Yun Shao and the others wouldn't be able to hold on until then. Mistress! Suddenly, the little worm let out a loud cry. Yun Luofeng was stunned. When he raised his head, he saw that the fat insect had already arrived in front of him. With a plop, the little bug kissed her forehead. Yun Luofeng frowned. She didn't even have time to throw away the little bug that had molested her when she felt a pain between her eyebrows. A cold feeling spread through her entire body through her eyebrows. The little bug fell from the sky and landed on Yun Luofeng's open palm. It looked at Yun Luofeng pitifully. I've already given you my most precious blood essence. I'll need a long time to recover. You have to keep your word. Don't eat me. Even when it closed its eyes, Little Worm did not forget to remind it, afraid that Yun Luofeng would eat it up while it was asleep. Xiao Mo, take care of it. Yun Luofeng threw Little Worm to Xiao Mo. Soon after, she felt her blood surge and her power gradually rise. Chapter 1709. Little Mo's gaze followed Yun Luofeng. He had a feeling that Yun Luofeng, who had obtained the essence blood of the ancestral dragon, was so powerful that it was terrifying. On this mainland, dragons were a powerful and rare spiritual beast. Not only were they powerful, but their entire body was also a treasure. Whether it was dragon blood, dragon flesh or dragon tendons, they were all great supplements, not to mention the essence blood of the dragon. One must know that essence blood was the most precious thing in a dragon's body. When a dragon gave away its essence blood, it was equivalent to draining its own essence. This showed how important essence blood was. Moreover, the dragon in front of him was not an ordinary person. It was the ancestor of the dragon clan. How precious was the essence blood of the ancestral dragon? This drop of essence blood would not only temporarily help Yun Luofeng increase his power, but also, it would benefit him greatly and help him avoid many detours in his future journey. Little Amo looked at the little worm in his arms and raised an eyebrow. Perhaps when Yun Shao accepted this ancestral dragon, he had been planning on doing this. Otherwise, why would he save this little fellow for no reason? Qin Luo had wanted to quickly deal with this group of people, but she suddenly felt a power coming from in front of her. She raised her head in shock. When she saw Yun Luofeng's power rising, panic flashed across her eyes. What's going on? Could this woman also use a secret skill to increase her power? No. There was no such method on this mainland. Even if there was, she was now a godlike existence. On such a backward mainland, there was still someone who could raise her power to the godlike level. Qin Luo's face was pale as she retreated step by step. However, before she could turn around and escape, a demonic voice rang out from above her head. "Where are you going?" The woman in white slowly walked down from the void. Her lips curled into a sinister smile as she stared coldly at Qin Luo. Qin Luo suppressed the panic in her heart and gritted her teeth. "You're lucky today. I'll settle the score with you in the future." "Future?" Yun Luo Feng chuckled. "You still have a future." Qin Luo clenched her fists tightly. If this had happened in the beginning, she would have fought with Yun Luo Feng. Both of them had used a secret skill to increase their power, and it was uncertain who would survive. However, her time was almost up. Once her time was up, she would be at the mercy of others. Therefore, she could only leave for the time being and wait for her to recover before settling the score with these people. Unfortunately, this woman obviously didn't want her to leave. Get lost. Qin Luo had no intention of begging for mercy. She leaped up and charged toward Yun Luo Feng, her eyes filled with ruthlessness. Yun Luo Feng gently stretched out his hand. Bang! She wrapped her hand tightly around the man's outstretched fist as a cold smile flashed across her pitch-black eyes. "You wanted to steal my man, and now you're leaving just like that." Qin Luo was so angry that his face turned red, and he glared at Yun Luo Feng. "You keep talking about your man. As a woman, don't you have any shame?" In the past, Qin Luo was despised by others due to his lust. At that time, she stood up and taught those people a lesson. She claimed that men could have multiple wives, so why couldn't she? Of course, that was when it happened to her. If it was related to someone else, for example, Yun Luo Feng, in her heart, she firmly believed that the other was shameless, without any feminine virtues. Yun Luo Feng smiled. "He is my legitimate man, did I say anything wrong? If my actions are shameful, then shouldn't you be so ashamed that you want to steal someone else's man that you want to kill yourself?" Chapter 17:10. You. Qin Luo's face was ferocious. "Yun Luo Feng, don't be so smug. If you dare to touch a finger of mine, someone will definitely come and kill you for me." "Is that so?" Yun Luo Feng raised her eyebrows. "Then I'll wait for that person to come and kill me." Yun Xiao had already silently stood beside Yun Luo Feng. His black eyes were cold and murderous. Just his aura alone made Qin Luo feel a little scared. This man was the same as the old man. They were both at the half-step void realm. Moreover, he had just stepped into this realm not too long ago. However, his aura was too strong, so strong that it was frightening. Qin Luo forcefully retracted his fist from Yun Luofeng's palm and then kicked Yun Luo Feng. Yun Luo Feng sneered. She wanted to block it, but who knew that at this moment, her body would stiffen. With a bang, a powerful force broke through her mind and directly shot Qin Luo in front of her. The illusion, in the end, was still broken. The steel flame core that Yun Luo Feng had thrown into the illusion to cultivate were automatically transported out when the illusion was broken. They fell to the ground miserably. Their expressions were filled with shock and confusion, as if they didn't know what had happened. Just as Yun Luofeng's expression was changing bit by bit, an excited laughter suddenly came, causing Yun Luofeng's body to tremble. "Zhu Qian, I finally left that damned illusion." Ha ha ha. Mo Qianqing's doll-like face had an excited smile. His eyes were flashing with excitement. He saw Yun Luo Feng with a glance and quickly rushed towards her, reaching out to hug her. Just as Mo Qianqing was in front of Yun Luo Feng, a hand reached out from the side and pulled Yun Luo Feng into an embrace. The cold eyes were like sharp swords that shot towards Enchanting. Who are you? Enchanting's face sank. There was actually another man beside Zhu Qian. Yun Zhao's eyes were very firm. I am her husband. Enchanting broke down. His doll-like face pulled down as he angrily pointed at Yun Xiao and said to Yun Luofeng, Zhu Qian, tell me, this man is lying. How can you have a husband? He must be lying. I waited for you for so many years. How can you abandon me? How? Yun Luofeng had given Enchanting pointers before. Back then, in the illusion realm, she had no choice but to impersonate Zhu Qian in order to save Ji Zhoutian. Originally, he wanted to raise his strength before Enchanting left the illusion so that he would at least have the confidence to deal with him in the future. But who knew that Enchanting would actually shatter the illusion in advance? This man must have tempted you. I'm going to kill him. If he dies, you'll be mine. Yun Zhao's brows twitched slightly. Just as he was about to step forward, a hand reached out from behind and grabbed his arm. Yun Luofeng shook his head at him and looked at Enchanting. To tell you the truth, I am not Zhu Qian. Back then, I pretended to be him in order to save Ji Zhoutian. No, you are Zhu Qian. Enchanting's expression was very painful. You locked me in the illusion for 1,000 years. I waited for you for 1,000 years. Why do you have to do this to me? The corner of Yun Luofeng's mouth twitched. At that time, she had only made up a lie. Who would have thought that Enchanting had already stubbornly believed that she was Zhu Qian? Feng wait for me. Yun Xiao moved closer to Yun Luofeng's ear and whispered. Yun Xiao. Yun Luofeng's heart tightened. Enchanting's strength is not simple. Don't worry. I will come back alive to see you. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.